Okay. Hare Krishna. So, Arvind Prabhu?
Yes, Guruji, Dandavat Pranam.
Pranam, Pranam. Where are you from?
I am born and brought up in Kolkata, but I'm staying in Pune right now, India.
Very good to know. So let's start. Soon devotees will keep joining. So let me have this. Okay. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Srinivadi Pashyadya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pamenebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So, Hare Krishna devotees. So, we are at continuing on with the most interesting topic of discussing Hare Krishna Mahamantra in the Guru Tattva. The book which I have been working on, after like years, I realized the Guru Tattva, the topic of Guru Tattva is actually culminates in offenseless chanting. That is what the Guru is doing, because Hare Krishna mantra is the means of deliverance, and so Guru is in this Kali Yuga to facilitate us not only in chanting but in purifying our heart, purifying our offenses, purifying everything around in the environment, everything around, so that we could chant purely. Because holy name alone can and will is able to completely take us back to the full consciousness, our original consciousness, and much more. Take us to pure love also. So when I started realizing meaning by studying Srila Prabhupada books, I started seeing all these places where he's talking about. Then I became convinced that Guru Tattva topic is the most important, because he does this this purpose. And then it becomes the resultant is that Guru needs to be already be chanting purely. Otherwise, how will he teach us to chant purely? So it's not very, all the other places in Bhagavatam and in Bhagavad Gita, so sees the truth, all these things. But finally in Kali Yuga, it all culminates in this thing, finally, is in pure chanting, and how to remove offenses, how to engage senses. So much intricacies involved in how a pure devotee, Guru, he takes us to pure chanting. So but then formal initiation is also required, or so many times written that not required. So now we are discussing this extremely important topic, because more and more we go deeper in understanding this topic through the eyes of the scriptures, which for us is through what Srila Prabhupada has written and said about this topic. And then the other acharyas, he is quoting, he is showing us, you read here, you read there, and through that we come to know what the acharyas and what Krishna's viewpoint is, Lord Chaitanya's viewpoint is on this topic. So we started looking at, because Srila Prabhupada says for Diksha in CC Madhya Leela 24th chapter 331st verse, he instructed in the purport, Srila Prabhupada instructed for Diksha, one should refer to CC Madhya 15 chapter 108 verse. No, it's interesting, it's 108th verse. So that's why we have been reading this 108th verse of the 15th chapter of Madhya Leela. So let's go to that verse. And we will just reread what we started reading earlier. Diksha Purushcharya Vidhi Apeksha na kare, Jiva Sparshe e Chandal Sabare Uddhare. Diksha is initiation. One does not have to undergo initiation or execute the activities required before initiation. One simply has to vibrate the holy name with his lips. Thus, even a man in the lowest class Chandala can be delivered. So, Srila Prabhupada then he explains that Srila Jiva Goswami explains about Diksha and Bhakti Sandarbha in 283 words. Now, this 283, the way the Sandarbhas work, 283, it's not just one verse, it's like a whole explanation he gives in each anucheda. So it's kind of a purport he's giving one by one. So if you see this verse and then again quoted 283 words, I was confused earlier what is going on. And then I kind of referred this and then I understood that it's a lot of Sanskrit words spoken, and then he quotes and he quotes and he writes and quotes,
Uh,
writes and quotes, writes
Prabhu,
and quotes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, screen is not visible, Prabhu.
Oh, second. So that means thank you for telling me. Now,
Yes,
now,
visible, Prabhu.
Now
Yeah, it's
visible.
okay.
Thank
So Srila Jiva Goswami explains Diksha in his Bhakti Sandarbha 283. So I will just skip. We have already read it last time. So we know this famous verse, which in the Ritwik whole group, it is all the time talked about. Diksha is the process by which one can awaken his transcendental knowledge and vanquish all reactions caused by sinful activity. A person expert in the study of the revealed scriptures knows this process as Diksha. And the regulative principles, which means the formal initiation process, is described in Hari Bhakti Vilas and in Bhakti Sandarbha 283. So this is also 283, this is also 283, and it goes on, even though born in a family. And then keeps on talking about unless one is initiated by bona fide merit. It talks about how it is so important to. I'm skipping this because we already did that. I'm just recapping it from last week. So I'm sorry if people are joining to this time, first time.
Can you zoom out, Prabhu? Zoom out.
Zoom out.
Yeah, yes, Prabhu.
More, zoom more.
Yeah, I mean, like it's like full zoom. I mean, is it for everyone or just for me? I don't know. Okay, okay, oh, Prabhu. Yeah.
Okay,
It's fine.
great. Thank you. So till here it keeps on talking about how important it is for Diksha, the formal initiation, and Purushcharya Vidhi, all these things they talked about, and Srila Prabhupada was talking about how it is required earlier, and keeps on talking about the process of formal initiation, the importance of bhakti. But then he starts talking about the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra is so powerful that it does not depend on official initiation. This is the formal initiation. So this is the verse. But then Srila Jiva Goswami and hence the Acharyas, they start talking about something else too. But, there is a but. If one is initiated and engages in Pancharatrika Vidhi, his Krishna consciousness will awaken very soon. And his identification with the material world will be vanquished. The more one is freed from material identification, the more one can realize that the spirit soul is qualitatively as good as the supreme soul. At such a time, when one is situated on the absolute platform, he can understand that the holy name of the Lord and the Lord Himself are identical. At that stage of realization, the holy name of the Lord, the Hare Krishna mantra, cannot be identified with any material sound. We should be so grateful to Srila Prabhupada to giving us this essence of the Kali Yuga. If one accepts the Hare Krishna Mahamantra as a material vibration, he falls down. One should worship and chant the holy name of the Lord by accepting it as the Lord Himself. This is the most important understanding. Understanding the Lord and the holy name as one. One should therefore be initiated properly according to revealed scriptures under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master. Although chanting the holy name is good for both the conditioned and the liberated soul, it is especially beneficial to the conditioned soul because by chanting it, one is liberated. When a person who chants the holy name is liberated, he attains the ultimate perfection by returning home back to Godhead. And then it goes back to the verse again. Srila Prabhupada goes back to the verse again, emphasizing it does not depend on chanting. The offenseless chanting of the holy name does not depend on the initiation process. Although initiation may depend on Purushcharya and Purushcharan, the actual chanting of the holy name does not depend on Purushcharya Vidhi or the regulative principles. If one chants the holy name once without committing an offense, he attains all success. During the chanting of the holy name, the tongue must work. Simply by chanting the holy name, one is immediately delivered. The tongue is sevan mukhe jiva. It is controlled by service. One whose tongue is engaged in tasting material things and also talking about them cannot use the tongue for absolute realization. And Atarshi, the famous was Atarshi Krishna Namadi. And then Ateva Krishna Nam Deha Vilas. With these material senses, one cannot understand the transcendental holy name. Only by serving, he revealed. So I know this is, I mean, for me also, it's not fully understood. But thank you, Arvind. Will come to you. I just wanted to complete this chain of thought that this particular essence of this verse, that it is required and also not required in the formal initiation, this is a difficult and the most important topic to discuss. So there are 2, 3 other places this exact same thing Srila Prabhupada again explains. So Arvind, if you are just only focused on this particular understanding, I urge you to wait till you hear Srila Prabhupada explaining it, because I don't want to explain it. We want to hear from Srila Prabhupada directly. But if you are asking something else, please go ahead.
I mean, you're talking about this line that you have highlighted, the more one is freed.
Yes.
That my question is on that, while chanting, you said that we have to use the tongue, but a different level of chanting, right? Where when we do in man also, right? We that I forgot the name. So where we don't use the tongue, but it's loud chanting inside our mind, and that is not definitely sleeping, but yes, chanting such that your soul is chanting like that. So is not isn't it that chanting, or we have to use the tongue every time, like?
That is the tongue one is talking about, and when one's talking about manas, japa, mana, kirtan, that is still we have transcendental senses. So once these material senses are purified, then they become spiritualized. But also as a spirit souls, we have a tongue, we have a mind. So when one is like a coconut, one is disidentified from this body, then the outside shell will also chant, but the through because of the internal tongue chanting, our souls, our tongue chanting, we the souls tongue chanting. So tongue has to chant. Uh, the physical tongue may not move, but the inside tongue will move because Krishna is there on the tongue. So we are a full soul body which has the full body, eyes, nose, everything we have. This is just like a rubber kind of mask which you are seeing. Okay. Let's go to go to what Srila Prabhupada is. We'll keep going more and more deeper, and then more. Then we all will get so much matter to then discuss. Let's keep hearing from Srila Prabhupada on the same topic. So he talks about. Let me bring one very nice verse, a nice purport, which he Adi 776. That's where I really understood. Let me keep this here. Let me go to the yeah. Adi 777, chapter 76 verse. Would somebody like to read? This here he explains the same thing again. Any volunteers, please?
Should I read, Prabhu?
Yeah.
हरेर्नाम केवलं कलौ नास्ति एव गतिः अन्यथा. Synonyms: Harer the holy name of the Lord. Harer the holy name of the Lord. Harer the holy name of the Lord. Eva, certainly. Kevalam, only. Kalau, in this age of Kali. Nasti, there is none. Eva, certainly. Na asti, there is none. Eva, certainly. Nasti, there is none. Eva, certainly. Gati, progress. Anyatha, otherwise. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace is He Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. For spiritual progress in this age of Kali, there is no alternative, there is no alternative, there is no alternative to the holy name, the holy name, the holy name of the Lord. Purport. For progress in spiritual life, the Shastras recommend meditation in Satya Yoga, sacrifice for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu in Treta Yuga, and gorgeous worship of Lord in the temple in Dwapar Yuga. But in age of Kali, one can achieve spiritual progress only by chanting the holy name of the Lord. This is confirmed in various scriptures. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there are many references to this fact. In 12th canto, 12.3.51, it is said, Kirtanadeva Krishnaya Mukta Sangha Param Brajet. In the age of Kali, there are many faults, for people are subjected to many miserable conditions. Yet in this age, there is one great benediction. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one can be freed from all material contamination and thus be elevated to the spiritual world. The Narada Pancharatra also praises the Hare Krishna Mahamantra as follows. त्रयो वेद सत् अंगानि छंदांसि विविध सूराः सर्वम् अस्थाक्षरांत अस्थाक्षरान्तः अस्थम यच्छन्यात् अपि वान्मयां सर्ववेदान्त सारार्थः samsaranava taranaha. The essence of all Vedic knowledge, comprehending the three kinds of Vedic activity, Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, and Upasana Kanda, the chandas or Vedic hymns, and the process for satisfying the demigods is included in the 8 syllables Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. This is the reality of all Vedanta. The chanting of the holy name is the only means to cross the ocean of nescience. Similarly, the Kalisantarana Upanishad states Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. These 16 names, composed of 32 syllables, are the only means to counteract the evil effects of Kali Yuga. In all the Vedas, it is seen that to cross the ocean of nescience, there is no alternative to the chanting of the holy name. Similarly, Sri Madhvacharya, while commenting upon the Mundaka Upanishad, he said, Dvapariyai Janer Vishnu Pancharatraistu Kevalaihi Kalautu Nama Matrena Pujate Bhagavan Harihi. In the Dwapar Yuga, one could satisfy Krishna or Vishnu only by worshipping him gorgeously, according to the Pancharatrika system. But in the age of Kali, one can satisfy and worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, simply by chanting the holy name. In his Bhakti Sandarbha, verse 284, Srila Jiva Goswami strongly emphasizes the chanting of the holy name of the Lord as follows.
You can skip this for the timing. Huh?
Yeah. Srila Jiva Goswami states that the substance of all the Vedic mantras is the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Every mantra begins with the prefix Namaum and eventually addresses by name the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By the supreme will of the Lord, there is a specific potency in each and every mantra chanted by great sages like Narada Muni and other rishis. Chanting the holy name of the Lord immediately renovates the transcendental relationship of living being with the Supreme Lord. To chant the holy name of the Lord, one need not depend upon other paraphernalia, for one can immediately get all the desired results of connecting or linking with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It may therefore be questioned why there is a necessity for initiation or further spiritual activities in devotional service for one who engages in the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. The answer is that although it is correct that one who fully engages in chanting the holy name need not depend upon the process of initiation, generally a devotee is addicted to many abominable material habits due to material contamination from his previous life. In order to get quick relief from all these contaminations, it is required that one engage in the worship of the Lord in the temple. The worship of the deity in the temple is essential to reduce one's restlessness due to the contaminations of conditioned life. Thus, Narada in his Pancharatrika Vidhi and other great sages have sometimes stressed that since every conditioned soul has a bodily concept of life aimed at sense enjoyment, to restrict this sense enjoyment, the rules and regulations for worshipping the deity in the temple are essential. Srila Rupa Goswami has described that the holy name of the Lord can be chanted by liberated souls, but almost all the souls who have to initiate are conditioned. It is advised that one chant the holy name of the Lord without offenses and according to the regulative principles. Yet, due to their past bad habits, they violate these rules and regulations. Thus, the regulative principles for worship of the deity are also simultaneously essential. So here first it is explained about the um, uh, importance of Kali Yuga when it comes to the very easily worshipping the Supreme Lord by just chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and that is what very um it is very much stressed here, especially that Kala Nastyeva 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 three times. It is very important. Then again, Kali Santarana Upanishad is also explained that Hare Krishna mantra, it is Shodashaka, that's 16 name. That is another reference where Prabhupada is taken. And another important point I would observe here is that, like, why the initiation is required for chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. So that is the most important aspect I would see from this purport.
To worship deity.
Yes.
Otherwise, not required.
Yeah, I mean, why the initiation is required is if you just you can chant, if you can just chant mantra, that's it. So but the purpose of initiation and deity worship, why it is required, that is uh, main important point I feel from this purport.
Now let me go to another place. Seventh canto. Forget which verse it is. 623. 6. Sorry. Hmm. Did it go? I think this reference is wrong. I will find the reference, but let me bring the. Somebody can bring this reference up. I think somehow I made a mistake in this. By chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can reach the platform of love of Godhead. One might ask, then what is the necessity of being initiated? The answer is that even though the chanting of the holy name is sufficient to enable one to progress in spiritual life to the standard of love of Godhead, the highest place, one is nonetheless susceptible to contamination because of possessing a material body. Consequently, special stress is given to the Archana Vidhi. One should therefore regularly take advantage of both the Bhagavata process and the Pancharatrika process. So this is clear, right? Anything we need to discuss on this before we keep going more deeper into this? Srila Prabhupada from other angles, then he's covering this deity worship.
Yeah, I would just like to ask from the previous verse that we just read in the purport, am I right or did I get it wrong? That Prabhupada seems to be stressing that the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra for conditioned souls is very much dependent on deity worship. You know, right? And I mean, some people may say, well, I don't do deity worship, but actually it's, and correct me if I'm wrong with this, deity worship that we do is already included in us attending the temple program. When we attend the morning program and see the deity being worshipped, that's as good as like we're doing it or something. You know, Rupa Goswami gave the whole process so that we by attending the morning of the temple program, we actually kind of participate in that deity worship necessity requirement. Is that correct?
Okay, so I have further questions for you on that. Then why is it, I mean, like anybody can attend the temple programs? No?
Okay,
Like,
first, if you don't mind, so
yeah.
the first sentence, what did I say in the first sentence? That Prabhupada was stressing that the chanting of the Hare Krishna is that for conditioned souls is largely dependent on deity worship. That means going to the temple.
For conditions, so yes, you're
Yes,
correct.
for conditioned souls. Yes,
Yeah.
which we all are, of course.
Yeah. So now my question is like everybody is attending the temple programs. Anybody could come in from anywhere. Why there is a whole thing about initiation then? Hmm?
I didn't understand the question actually.
I mean, why do you need an initiation to attend temple programs?
You don't need initiation to attend temple. Who said that?
No, you are saying no that deity worship is included in the when we attend the temple program.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then why I mean then
Yeah.
why do you need initiation to attend temple programs?
I'm not sure I'm kind of following your line of thought, but we started with the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Like, this topic is a Hare Krishna mantra, initiation or no initiation. So Prabhupada seems to state in that purport that to actually benefit positively from the Hare Krishna mantra for conditioned souls, they need to do deity worship at the same time. And that deity worship, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, means not that we're our pujari, not that we have to be a pujari worshiping the deity on the altar, that we simply attend the morning program, and by the arrangement of that morning program, we do all the necessary archa vigraha within that.
Yeah, but the question then is raised that
First
anybody
of all, just is
temple
that true? Is that true or not true? First of
That's
all,
why I'm asking you, like, to make it true, the question to you is that anybody can attend the temple program. Why do you need initiation to attend the temple program to chant the holy name purely?
Because the material body contains the previous karma and lot of which we are carrying, the vasanas from the previous lives. If it has to quickly washed away, then this initiation process and this deity worship, where this both Archana Paddhati and this Pancharatrika
yeah,
process and Bhagavad process, both are required. So that would be the reason for the
But
initiation.
anybody can attend the temple program. So anybody without initiation, getting formal initiation done, can attend the temple program and perfect the chanting. Why do you need to be initiated?
because Prabhupada says, as Prabhuji just said, that you actually need both. Of course, anybody, and they are lots of
Bhagavata
people are
process
coming to,
need a formal initiation. No?
huh?
For Bhagavata process, formal initiation is not required. No? Chanting is sufficient.
No, it's not sufficient because we're conditioned souls. We're starting with that point.
No,
For non-conditioned souls,
Bhagavat process, chanting formal was never done. No, we have been going through that last 10 months. No,
yeah,
in
okay, but that is
Panchatrika,
conditioned.
yeah, Panchatrika is the official initiation, and that is done so that one can worship the deity, so that one's material contamination is removed. But if that means that deity worship means temple program attending alone and not directly worshipping the deity, for that one does not need Pancharatrika formal initiation. No?
Yes.
Just attend any time.
But here it is explaining about second initiation of Prabhu, because he's initiated and then he will get he's eligible for deity worship. So that means
1 second. So Hare Krishna
No,
Mahamantra
no,
in this, who was saying no, no?
no. I'm saying in the previous purport that we read, it didn't say anything about second initiation.
It says only about both the initiation, Hare Krishna Mahamantra and the Diksha, both are considered part of the Pancharatrika process. That was in the verse 24330. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explained that. Both Hare Krishna mantra and all. Here he's saying, talking about Hare Krishna mantra, chanting and in getting formal initiation. This whole thing is about Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Why don't we go forward? I had tried to cover this thing, meaning Srila Prabhupada is covering this thing. Let's read SB 1:12:13. Let us come to that 1:12:13. So 3-4. That's why we will keep going next few weeks into so many ways. Srila Prabhupada is covering this topic in many different angles. It becomes very interesting to. So thank you, Rancho Prabhu, for telling me it is 7:5. I have typed it wrongly. So okay, so it is SB 1:2:13. 1:12:13.
I hope I'm not interrupting, Prabhu. I just want to share my understanding is that chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is enough to awaken the love of God. But the initiation process is required to remove the impurities in us, which we are carrying from many lives, because we are still in the material body. So this I understood.
But chanting can remove, no?
Chanting can awaken the love of God, and it will
Awaken
remove
without,
also. But
without
we
up.
also read in the purport that, but you mentioned, but that taking the initiation, it is like in a jiffy, it's a quick process to your going a fast. That is another point I can bring it up.
Okay, very good. Srila Prabhupada does cover it many different angles, so that very nice, and we'll keep hearing. So this verse is 1:12:13. In the purport, he talks about little bit. There is a need for a good and intelligent class of Brahmins who are expert in performing the purificatory processes prescribed in the system of Varnashrama Dharma. This is the Vedic Brahmins. Varnashrama Dharma, Varnashrama Vedic system is like interchangeable. Vedic initiation. Unless such purificatory processes are performed, there is no possibility of good population. And in the age of Kali, the population all over the world is of Shudra quality or lower for want of this purificatory process. It is not possible, however, to revive the Vedic process of purification in this age for want of proper facilities and good brahmanas. But there is the Panchratrika system also recommended for this age. The Panchratrika system acts on the Shudra class of men, supposedly the population of the Kali Yuga, and it is the prescribed purificatory process suitable to the age and time. Such a purificatory process is allowed only for spiritual upliftment and not for any other purpose. Spiritual upliftment is never conditioned by higher or lower parentage. So then he goes in other topics.
Can we discuss that verse a little more, if you don't mind?
This verse?
The one you just read, the purport, that paragraph.
Yeah, let's discuss it. Yeah.
So the
Because,
Pancharatrika, okay, please go on to.
yeah, no, I was just going to ask, if you can help us understand, because for some of us and those listening on YouTube or whatever, Pancharatrika system and then the Bhagavat system is like maybe a new concept, new idea for people, so we're not very clear on it. I'm certainly not clear on it. So the Pancharatrika system, are we saying that that is just the initiation ceremony, or there's a lot more to when we say use this word? Because Prabhupada seems to say here, it's a purificatory process.
Yeah.
So we're not, because the word process is used, so we're not just talking about a 2-hour throw the banana in the fire ceremony, are we?
No, that's correct.
So
Now,
can you explain this? What is this Pancharatrika process?
see, I always like that devotees hear from Srila Prabhupada and because his statements, no, they can stay in the mind and we get more and more attached to Srila Prabhupada's statements. So let me, 1 second, you can't see the screen, right? So me, because this is so crucial for, for us sadhakas. So I don't want to come in the middle of Srila Prabhupada and everybody. Let me, one place I did do this analysis and okay, that can only form as this is where actually I left off. Okay, let me do this analysis. I have to do this, but then we will go to Srila Prabhupada's statements. So Panchatrika Vidhi is what Panchatrika Vidhi does is these are all Srila Prabhupada's statements exactly. I just directly place them here. Krishna consciousness will awaken very soon. Identification with the material world and material designations will be vanquished. The more one is freed from material identification, the more one can realize that the spirit soul is qualitatively as good as the supreme soul.
Can I jump in with a question here?
Yeah.
You see, what you're just reading right now is what I've come to understand of what's happening when I'm hearing Prabhupada's voice, reading his books, which is the Bhagavad Gita process.
Yeah.
So, there's immediately a confusion here because I know I'm getting purified not by the ceremony that was done God knows how many years ago, but by continuously hearing and then serving those instructions, which is Bhagavad Gita, right?
Yeah. Can we keep going? Very, very good question. Let's keep that. Wonderful. Generally, a devotee is addicted to many abominable material habits due to material contamination from his previous life. To reduce one's restlessness and to get quick relief from all these contaminations, one must engage in the worship of the Lord in the temple. It will quickly purify one's senses and one will be able to chant without offenses. Since every conditioned soul has a bodily concept of life aimed at sense enjoyment, to restrict the sense enjoyment, one should do deity worship. That means following the rules and regulations precisely. That will keep one steady in devotional service. Because of material contamination with the advance of the ages, disrespectful dealings appeared even among Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. Hence, for those who cannot properly appreciate the activities of authorized devotees, deity worship is the only way for spiritual advancement. The devotees can stay clean and pure in habits and mind. Grihastha devotees should be actual examples of cleanliness. Grihastha devotees are generally engaged in material activities, and therefore, if they do not take to deity worship, their falling down is positively assured. Hence, then Srila Prabhupada said, one should therefore be initiated properly according to revealed scriptures and the direct the direction of persona of a spiritual master. If one is interested in the process of Archana, one must positively take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master and learn the process from him.
Sorry, this Pancharattika Vidya initiation that was added, or was that Prabhupada's words?
Can you tell me again? One?
It says here in brackets, Pancharattika Vidya initiations.
All the
That was
brackets are
added, or is that Prabhupada?
in brackets is mine.
Ah, okay.
That's why I put it in.
Initiated properly according to revealed scriptures, but the sentence doesn't continue. According to revealed scriptures, the direction of the body. There's a problem there, right?
Yeah, and must be under or something. So, yes, Arvind?
So you said that it is very important for Grihasthas. So is it not so important for brahmacharis? Because we see that most brahmacharis like who are into preaching, so they maybe not get time for deity worship, but maybe it's not so important for them.
Very good point. So let's go to Bhagavad Gita, what Lord Krishna says. You remember what Lord Krishna is saying about this in Bhagavad Gita? Anyone knows? Fourth chapter? Anyone remembers? As a brahmachari, I made that as my life and soul, the sacrifice of hearing. Let's see, let's go there. Sacrifice of hearing. This. Mhm. So this is the verse 426. Shrota Adini, hearing process, Indriyani, senses, any others, Samyama of restraint, Agnishu in the fire, Juhat, Juvhati offers, Shabda Adi in sound vibration, and Vishayan objects of sense gratification, any others, Indriya of sense organs, Agnishu in the fire, Juvhati I sacrifice. Some of them sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in the fire of the controlled mind, and others sacrifice the objects of the senses, such as sound, in the fire of sacrifice. You want to read the purport, Arvind?
The four divisions of human life, namely the brahmachari, the grihastha, the vanaprastha, and the sannyasis, are all meant to help men become perfect yogis or transcendentalists. Since human life is not meant for our enjoying sense gratification like the animals, the four orders of human life are so arranged that one may become perfect in spiritual life. The brahmachari or student may, under the care of qualified spiritual master, control the mind by abstaining from sense gratification. They are referred to in this verse as sacrificing the hearing process and the senses in the fire of the controlled mind.
Keep
If
going.
brahmachari hears only words concerning Krishna consciousness, hearing is the basic principle for understanding, and therefore the pure brahmachari engage fully in Hare Namanu Kirtanam, chanting and hearing the glories of the Lord. He restrained himself from the vibration of material sound, and his hearing is engaged in the transcendental sound vibration of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Similarly, the householders who have some license for sense gratification perform such act with great restraint. Sex life, intoxication, and meat eating are general tendency of human society. But a regulated householder does not indulge in unrestricted sex life and other sense gratifications. Marriage on principle of religious life is therefore current in all civilized human society because that is the way for restricted sex life. This restricted unattached sex life is also a kind of yajna because the restricted householder sacrifice his general tendency towards sense gratification for higher transcendental life.
Hmm. So, in the purport, uh, oh, Prahlad Maharaj's famous verse in that purport about Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. In that purport, Srila Prabhupada is specifically talking about, explaining this point about the Grihasthas. Let me bring that up. Worshipping the deity. Okay, you want to read this? This is from that verse, Shravanam Kirtanam, and specifically related to Archanam. Yes, please go ahead.
Your screen is not set.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
After Pada Sevanam comes the process of Archanam, worship of deity. If one is interested in the process of Archanam, one must positively take shelter of of a bona fide spiritual master and learn the process from him. There are many books for Archana, especially Narad Pancharatra. In this age, the Pancharatra system is particularly recommended for Archana, deity worship. There are two-step systems of Archana, the Bhagavad system and the Pancharatric system. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is no recommendation of Pancharatric worship because in this Kali Yuga, even without deity worship, everything can be perfectly performed simply through hearing, chanting, remembering, and worship of the lotus feet of the Lord. It is therefore recommended that initiated devotees follow the principle of Narad Pancharatra by worshipping the deity in the temple, especially for the householder devotees who are opulent in material possession. The path of deity worship is strongly recommended. The special purpose of deity worship is to keep oneself always pure and clean. Grihastha devotees should be actual example of cleanliness.
Mm. So generally 99% of devotees will become grihasthas, so they are trained in the brahmachari life, but it starts with the sacrifice of the hearing process, and then it progresses to deity worship training, so that then one once marries and starts doing more material activities, then one can remain steady.
But it creates a new doubt, Prabhuji, here that we see that Srimad Bhagavatam does not recommends, or I should not say recommends, but I can say that Bhagavatam focuses more on other process, that is chanting and hearing, rather than Pancha Trividhi. So, and when we say that, Srimad Bhagavatam is Amal Puran, that means it is not cheating dharma. So whatever it gives, it will give you pure thing, and there is no mixture in that. So now, if we want to follow Bhagavatam fully, then we have to. Means what I understand is that I have to, do reading, hearing and chanting. Focus more on hearing and chanting.
So actually, Srila Prabhupada actually says that in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is no recommendation of Panchratrika worship. So and also Bhagavata is the not just Amala Puran, but Paramo Dharma. Like it's like Param. What is it? Nigama Kalpataru. It is the ultimate of the whole Vedic literature. So Srimad Bhagavatam, there is no worship, but that is why we have acharyas then, later on. They are explaining. So, and Srimad Bhagavatam is saying Bhagavata system, Bhagavata Vidhi means Bhagavata, this of the way of the Bhagavatam, way of the Bhagavatas, where one gets attached to a Bhagavata, person Bhagavata, and the book Bhagavata, and that is sufficient. But these same Bhagavatas, seeing the condition of the Kali Yuga, they are saying, hey, Bhagavata Vidhi, you follow Bhagavata Vidhi, but include Panchatrika Vidhi within your practice to a certain extent, not the whole Panchatrika Vidhi which is recommended or which was followed in previous yugas, but to a certain extent, adjusted according to time, place, and circumstance for an candidate individual, so that it will help one purify that much particular contamination, past habits, and everything, so that one becomes steady. After one becomes steady, automatically one will be chanting, preaching more. One can kind of little bit, not to disregard deity worship, but the focus will be more on the priority of the Sankirtan and preaching, which Srila Prabhupada also explains it when we cover more of Srila Prabhupada's statements. Srila Prabhupada is talking about that. Many times he then explains the priority and the necessity, but also how both should be also done. So the Acharya, seeing the age, they adjust. So they are adjusting, but to a limited extent, just the right prescription they are giving. That is why guru is required. Maybe when the yuga dharma increases more and the world becomes more and more purified, and more devotees are being born in devotees wombs and in a really pure environment, they may not need to follow panchatrika vidhi so much. I don't know. And there may be some places where Panchatrika Vidhi following is almost impossible. So then, but still, Bhagavata Vidhi, if it is done with a lot of sincerity and from the blessings of the spiritual master, one doesn't need Panchatrika Vidhi. Because that is what the Bhagavatam is saying. Srila Prabhupada keeps saying. And what I have seen in my personal experience with the different devotees, if they don't follow Narada Panchratrika Vidhi of worshipping deity, and all these helpful activities, then it becomes troublesome, but still progress is there. And gradually over the years, because of the holy name is so powerful, it starts overcoming all these material conditioning and makes the path smoother and smoother. But Panchatrika Vidhi following it becomes much easier. That's all. No?
I second that, Prabhuji, that you said that people who devotees who follow Panchayat Vidhi, they find easier to do bhakti. But you also mentioned that, Prabhuji, that Acharya, time, place, circumstances, they mercifully give us processes so that we can follow and purify ourselves. So I see in Nectar of Devotion, I think in the first chapter, second chapter only, Srila Prabhupada talks about Acharya is one who, I think, who makes sure that the disciple is, in Krishna conscious. That means, time, place, circumstances, making it available, Krishna consciousness available and more cherishable. So that is one thing. But then see this point only, Prabhuji, if somebody says like, okay, now that because and you said that at with time there will be more devotees, but what I see is with time more chaos and more you know the world, and the more chaotic the world becomes, so then it will be more difficult to do bhakti. Right now whatever it, phone, laptop, and there are many social media and all, so they are a hindrance in our bhakti, and it is just a starting. It in coming time it will be more and more, so it is more challenging to do bhakti. Then do we need someone to instruct us and tell us that how to follow Panchayat Vidhi in this situation also?
Mhm. So it's a very good point. So I'll give you my personal one anecdote, which is instructive in terms of understanding Srila Prabhupada, how he was implementing. There was one time we were doing Mangala Arati. I don't want to take specific name or specific devotees or like that, but we were doing Mangala Arati with Srila Prabhupada, chanting the Samsara Dava prayers in the recording with Acharya Prabhu. He had made this recording very nicely. He had worked so hard to make a whole morning program with Srila Prabhupada, whole compilation. It was in 2000 and I think two, before we had YouTube and everything, so we didn't have access so much. So I remember he made the whole thing. So Samsara Dava, when we would do Mangala Arati, 4:30, yeah, 4:30, that time Srila Prabhupada would chant Samsara Dava, we would repeat, and then like that the morning program went. And some devotees didn't like that, and they said, what is this? This is not how Srila Prabhupada said. Srila Prabhupada had devotees chant Samsara Dava, and like, not he himself was chanting and everything. So it should not be done like that and like that. So there was a lot of discussion. Many senior devotees came, and we were one of the topics were brought was this point. And so many senior devotees came, and they were discussing this point, and then among themselves, then there was a like many devotees started saying that no, Srila Prabhupada was implementing morning program in different temples, different ways. And they even said in Delhi temple or someplace, the Mangala Arati started at 6 a.m. Some places were starting like in New Vrindavan, it was starting like 4:15 or 4 a.m. or something. And so, and in how in India it is that it goes through changes in Brahma Muhurta, time changes as the season progress, and the Mangala Arati, the time changes in the temples, may not be in. So Srila Prabhupada started like that. He instructed like this, that Mangala Arati should be 1.5 hours before the sun rises. And then I saw his new letters started coming later on, when devotees, maybe he saw devotees are becoming unregulated by change of timing. So then he said, no, fix a time, doesn't matter. So it's like that. So what I meant to say is that Panchratriki, according to time and place, already was being changed so much. even Srila Prabhupada's personal physical presence. And some, like what when you're mentioning this point about future, let's say devotees, somebody is required, that is what I experienced then, is um, every situation, whatever the local devotees they come to agree upon with other senior devotees blessings and advice, they should adopt that much. As Srila Prabhupada also, I mean, he did in his, he implemented in his personal example, that whenever he would go to one place, according to the level, then he would set up the deity worship. And we all know in the beginning days, it was like very rudimentary. No, not many things. Even Shaligram Shile was not there. Tulsi Puja, Tulsi Ji wasn't there, and I mean all kinds of people were worshipping. So gradually he changed that, more and more as people became purified. So that will keep changing and adjusting. The small, big, more, like in South India, especially using Pancharatrika Vidhi is because the deity worship is so much ingrained in people's like habits and their understanding of practicing spiritual life, that the whole preaching can be done using more and more elaborate temple worship. South India and East India, a lot of it. I mean, and Bangalore devotees are showing how, so like make it more. I was there when that big temple was supposed, I mean, was going to come up in a year. Then Jai Chaitanya Prabhu was so deeply going to all the different mathas and sampradayas and learning the different more Panchratrika with the systems, because Srila Prabhupada had not implemented it till then in ISKCON. And later on, I understood it was not done so much for our purification, but to attract the normal people, because they come and see this and they see, wow, this is so great. They can appreciate that the different levels of Pancharatrika, the worship ceremonies and mudras and this ceremony and that ceremony, and they become so respectful and able to then hear and come and and respect the movement. But even a simple below a tree, one can have a little temple and also worship for one's own purification. So it's all depending on the different time, place. Devotees come to know from Krishna in the heart, especially if they have more and more understood and imbibed Srila Prabhupada's principles, as Srila Rupa Goswami is explaining, and Srila Prabhupada then is explaining further in Nectar of Devotion, all that in those chapters, regulative principles. Mhm.
So kind of you're saying, Guruji, that group of devotees can align themselves and create their own rules, regulation in with time, place, and circumstances. Is that true?
Standard standards, not the rules and regulation. Rules and regulations are already given, but the standards, how much to apply them, when to apply, whom, timing, or so many things. A group of devotees also, they should be properly situated. Otherwise, there is a chance to go off in the parampara.
And won't this philosophy, help people that okay, that is why we live living guru, because I cannot rely on myself, I cannot rely on the group, but maybe a living guru who is living that life of Bhagavad, and he can suggest or he can help us like that.
Why only he? Why not they?
Yeah, I mean, not just one person, but a living personality, like the whole idea of having a living guru. That okay, I can take guidance. I mean, I can share my heart that this is the problems I'm facing, and how should I apply now proper teachings? How should I live my life now?
So that is always there. No, we need living gurus. Like mother, father is the first guru, living guru. So I don't understand what is the problem. We need all kinds of gurus. All life we need. And Srila Prabhupada is also living. He is teaching certain aspects of our consciousness, especially how to overall structure he is creating, and he is teaching us how to chant purely. And then he has given this whole structure and arrangement where these adjustments can be done by his representative living gurus. No?
Got it. So living guru does not mean to they have to give diksha. So anybody can, who has really followed Srila Prabhupada, they can be a living guru whom we can take guidance and support, right?
We are all supposed to be living gurus, no, to some extent. But can we take people to pure chanting? We ourselves are struggling. Srila Prabhupada tells no that there's somebody is trying to be Krishna and then he's going for toothache to the doctor. We are chanting while we are doing this and then say, yeah, I will give you diksha. What kind of foolish thing that is, no? And persons are foolish if they also think that this person can teach me pure chanting while he is going like this while chanting. We continue. So, any other discussion, Prabhu? Otherwise, we keep on hearing from Srila Prabhupada on this same topic, many places from many angles he covering in many different ways. Okay, let's go to anywhere we can touch. Okay. So this we just read that Archana and Pancharatrika. Archana is explained both in Pancharatrika Vidhi and Bhagavata Vidhi. So let's hear from Srila Prabhupada on that point. This is from 4th canto, 24th verse, 45th to 24th chapter, 45th to 46th purport, verse purport. Let's go there. Oh. Okay. So this is, let me bring that. Okay. Okay, anybody wants to read? Leo Prabhu, would you have time to read? Are you able to? Driving? Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. You have time to read? You can
Yes,
read
yes.
translation and the purport, yeah.
The Lord's beauty resembles a dark cloud during the rainy season, As the rainfall glistens, his bodily features also glisten. Indeed, he is the sum total of all beauty. The Lord has four arms and an exquisitely beautiful face with eyes like lotus petals, a beautiful, highly raised nose, a mind-attracting smile, a beautiful forehead, and equally beautiful and fully decorated ears. Reported by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. After the scorching heat of the summer season, it is very pleasing to see dark clouds in the sky. As confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, Parvatamasam Asitam Buddha Sudarangam, the Lord wears a peacock feather in his hair, and his bodily complexion is just like a blackish cloud. The word Sundara, or Snigdha, means very pleasing. In Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya, Krishna's beauty is so pleasing that not even millions upon millions of cupids can compare to it. The Lord's form as Vishnu is decorated in all opulence. Therefore, Lord Shiva is trying to see the most opulent form of Narayan, or Vishnu. Generally, the worship of the Lord begins with the worship of Narayan, or Vishnu, whereas the worship of Lord Krishna and Radha is most confidential. Lord Narayan is worshipable by the Pancharatrika Viri, or regulated principles, whereas Lord Krishna is worshipable by the Bhagavad Viri. No one can worship the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita without going through the regulations of the Pancha Ratrika Viri. Actually, neophyte devotees worship the Lord according to the Pancha Ratrika Viri, or the regulated principles enjoined in Narada Pancha Ratra. Radha Krishna cannot be approached by the neophyte devotees, therefore temple worship according to regulated principles is offered to Lakshmi Narayan. Although there may be a Radha Krishna Vigraha or form, the worship of the neophyte devotees is acceptable as Lakshmi Narayan worship. Worship, according to the Pancharatrika Viri, is called Viri Marga, and worship according to the Bhagavad Viri principles is called Raga Marga. The principles of Raga Marga are especially meant for devotees who are elevated to the Vrindavan platform. The inhabitants of Vrindavan, the gopis, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, the cowherd boys, the cows, and everyone else are actually on the Raga Marga or the Bhagavad Marga platform. They participate in 5 basic rasas: Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, and Santa. But although these 5 rasas are found in the Bhagavad Marga, the Bhagavad Marga is specially meant for Vatsalya and Madhurya, or paternal and conjugal relationships. There is the Vipralamba Sakya, the higher fraternal worship of the Lord, especially enjoined by the cowherd boys. Although there is friendship between Krishna and the cowherd boys, this friendship is different from the Aisvarya friendship between Krishna and Arjuna. When Arjuna saw the Visvarupa, the gigantic universal form of the Lord, he was afraid of having treated Krishna as an ordinary friend. Therefore, he begged Krishna's pardon. However, the cowherd boys, who are friends of Krishna in Vrindavan, sometimes ride on the shoulders of Krishna. They treat Krishna equally, just as they treat one another. And they are never afraid of him, nor do they ever beg his pardon. Thus, the Raga Marga or Bhagavad Marga friendship exists on a higher platform with Krishna, namely the platform of Vipralamba friendship. Paternal friendship, paternal service, and conjugal service are service in the Vrindavan Raga Marga relationships. Without serving Krishna according to the Viri Marga, regulated principles of the Pancharatrika Vidi, unscrupulous persons want to jump immediately to the Raga Marga principles. Such persons are called Sahaja. There are also demons who enjoy depicting Krishna and his pastimes with the gopis, taking advantage of Krishna and their licentious character. These demons who print books and write lyrics on the Raga Marga principles are surely on the way to hell. Unfortunately, they lead others down with them. Devotees in Krishna consciousness should be very careful to avoid such demons. One should strictly follow the Vidi Marga, regulated principles, and the worship of Lakshmi Narayan, although the Lord is present in the temple as Radha Krishna. Radha Krishna includes Lakshmi Narayan. Therefore, when one worships the Lord according to the regulated principles, the Lord accepts the service in the role of Lakshmi Narayan. The Nectar of Devotion, 4 instructions are given about the Vidi Marga worship of Radha Krishna or Lakshmi Narayan. Although there are 64 kinds of offenses one can commit in Vidi Marga worship, in Raga Marga worship there is no consideration of such offenses because the devotees on that platform are very much elevated, and there is no question of offense. But if we do not follow the regulated principles on the Vidi Marga platform and keep our eyes trained to spot offenses, we will not make progress.
We'll skip it goes on the other topic from the verse. So, any discussion on this?
Yeah, a big one. And each thing we read opens up another whole bucket that takes us completely away from the original question. So we kind of get lost. Now the idea of Ragamag is brought in and it's saying that Bhagavat process or path is actually Raga on the Raganuga platform and giving the examples of the residents in Vrindavan. So there's no way we're there, but still somehow we're playing the Bhagavata Marg, and we're also applying the Pancharatrika. We're in that, obviously we're nowhere near any of this stuff. So, Lakshmi Narayan worship, well, how good are we even doing that? So,
Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep hearing. So slowly it start making little more sense. I can assure you. Keep hearing from Srila Prabhupada. It's such a see. This is like a huge thing to handle for our minds. This is like for let's say somebody is born in a Ramanuj Sampradaya, Madhva Sampradaya. They don't have to go through this complication to understand why this marg and that marg and how much that other nothing. They just have one path given. Panchatrika system directly, good instructions, solid instructions are there to do this kind of way of deity worship, this kind of chanting, this kind of mantra, very specifically, no confusion. But for
but
us, our
can I,
sampradaya, yeah.
yeah. Can I just ask you right now, because for us, the biggest principle is the Panchatattva of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because his addition now into our line, let's say, in the last 500 years, just completely changes everything. So his addition and his position and his relationship with us, that really changes everything.
Yeah, of course. So you can see that in exactly changes everything, but direct he himself was going to the deity worship, in Jagannath temple. He'll go from temple to temple. So you see, no, everywhere it is deities are one of the common denominators.
Yes.
So Srila Prabhupada is explaining that he was worshipping the deity according to the Bhagavata principle, Raga Marga. He, on the elevated platform.
Oh, definitely.
So we are asked to worship on the Panchratrika system, which is not mentioned or recommended in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Why do we do that? Because of Srila Jiva Goswami's instruction. That is why we were reading this CC 15108 purport. Because Srila Jiva Goswami in his Bhakti Sandarbha, after researching all the scriptures and understanding the mood and the real desire of Lord Chaitanya and the Acharyas before him, he said, this is how you do it. This is why you should include all the other activities also. And Srila Rupa Goswami included that in the Nectar of Devotion to Vidhi Marga and regulative principles. So Srila Jiva Goswami gave the Shastric basis for it, even though Lord Chaitanya and Srimad Bhagavatam are not talking about it. So, but they understand what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants. That's why they are the Parampara Acharyas. So that is why what happened is, but the recommendations are for neophyte devotees like us. The acharyas whom we hear in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the great devotees, and little bit more that we hear, the Parampara acharyas, They don't follow that because they don't need to. They are worshipping on the Raga platform. When it came to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, like Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he saw Saji as a taking advantage of this Raga Marga platform and not the elaborate Pancharatrika Vidhi mentioned in the scriptures. So he instructed Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati. Then he started formalizing it in the parampara so that people, the neophytes, can properly get trained and they don't run towards the Sahajiya platform. So he started implementing, and we go through. Srila Prabhupada is explaining that. I know all these things, what I'm saying is from Srila Prabhupada, hearing from him on this topic. So Srila Prabhupada says where what he did, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Um, like, okay, let's keep reading. Huh? All these are great, and in one sitting we or one or two times we will not be able to grasp the whole subject matter. And no, let's keep hearing more from Srila Prabhupada from different ways, different angles, and then I'm sure we will reach the conclusion sooner than later. Okay, Prabhu. I'm sorry, I'm not able to fully explain, but let us keep hearing. So Narada Muni. Prahlad Maharaj, his disciple, he says, in this age, the Panchratrika system is particularly recommended for Archana, that we know from 7, 5, 23, 24. So this is me saying that in example, Shri Dhruv Maharaj's example, and Amrish Maharaj's example, and Diti example, and Lord Krishna instructed Dhruva Maharaj, they describe the Archana process as one of the 9 bona fide practices in this yuj. But Srimad Bhagavatam does not recommend. That we already heard. Okay, we have read all these things. Okay, Srila Prabhupada, then he writes this. Especially in this age of Kali, Sankirtan alone is sufficient. If the members of our temples in the different parts of the world simply continue Sankirtan before the deity, especially before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they will remain perfect. There is no need of any other performances. Nevertheless, to keep oneself clean in habits and mind, deity worship and other regulative principles are required. Srila Jiva Goswami says that although Sankirtan is sufficient for the perfection of life, the Archana or worship of the deity in the temple must continue in order that the devotees may stay clean and pure. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur therefore recommended that one follow both processes simultaneously. We strictly follow his principle of performing deity worship and Sankirtan along parallel lines. This we should continue. There he goes, huh? Balram Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
He is directly addressing what you were mentioning.
Yes, that's already been clear from the beginning that we're following some elements, not fully this one, not fully that one, because we're not qualified, but elements of this and elements of that are being given to us.
Yeah. Even though Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't do that, but Srila Jiva Goswami, on his basis, we are doing it, and because Srila Bhaktivinoda Saraswati, he started it. Basically, he started implementing that. Uh, so in CC Madhya, we read that if one is sincerely eager to chant the Hare Krishna mantra or Diksha mantra, is qualified to be initiated according to the Panchratrika process. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur introduced the system of giving the sacred thread to a bona fide Vaishnav, and we are also following in its footsteps. Then one has to develop his devotional service under the directions of a pure devotee, the spiritual master, which means under the Bhagavata system and in accordance with the Vedic directions given in the Pancharatrika and the Bhagavatam systems.
So can I ask devotees here to help me just distinguish clearly what, because it seems like they kind of crisscross in many parts. So do I have that wrong? What is the difference actually between Pancharatrika system and the Bhagavad system? Just so I'm clear, this is this and this is that.
So, Srila, I mean, our Prahlad Maharaj, no, this is his famous verse, which is Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam.
Yeah.
The purport, if you must have read that, it's like huge, long purport, where Srila Prabhupada, one by one, he goes into this, each of the elements of and we should do that next week. We will take that up. So here he says, he's talking about the first four, no? They are a part of the Bhagavata process. Let's see where he's saying. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam. Yes. And the purport definitely, Srila Prabhupada explains that the first four are part of the it is really bugging me now. But anyway, I will find out. I don't want to take everyone's time. So Prabhu, this, I'm sorry, I wanted you to hear from Srila Prabhupada where he says the first four are Bhagavata Vidhi. And the next four are Panchadesa. So this purport, no, Prabhu, when we go and really read it and analyze, this will become more clear on what is Bhagavata and what is Pancharatrika. Like Archana can be done both by Pancharatrika and like that. Other things can also be done like that. I'm not able to get it. So Bhagavata Vidhi consists of chanting, Sankirtan, all these are Srila Prabhupada statements. Sincere. Bhagavata Vidhi is the system of 9 processes which begin with hearing and chanting, and all the 9 processes can be done using Bhagavata Vidhi. Bhagavata Vidhi includes preaching work, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. As these are all Srila Prabhupada statements. SB 7523, the hearing and chanting of the glory of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Person of Godhead. He says like that. Then chanting, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can reach the platform of love of Godhead. Sankirtan, if the members of our temples in the different parts of the world simply continue Sankirtan before the deity, especially before Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they will remain perfect. 632, 25th purport. Therefore, chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is more powerful than deity worship. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu set a practical example in that he did not establish any temples or deities, but he profusely introduced the Sankirtan movement. Therefore, Krishna consciousness preachers should give more stress to the Sankirtan movement, especially by distributing transcendental literature more and more. This helps the Sankirtan movement. Whenever there is a possibility to worship the deity, we may establish many centers. But generally, we should give more stress to the distribution of transcendental literature, for this will be more effective in converting people to Krishna consciousness. Srimad Bhagavatam 7:14-39. And preaching is more important. In Bhagavad Gita 1869, it is said, Na cha tasman manusheshu kaschin me priya prittamaha. If one wants to be recognized by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he must preach the glories of the Lord. SB 7:14-40 purport. Then he says, hearing. Just as the celestial waters of the Ganges flow unobstructed into the ocean, so when my devotees simply hear of me, their minds come to me. I reside in the hearts of all. Srimad Bhagavatam 3:29-11. Sincere association of the Bhagavatas. Associating with hearing, this is from 1 to 16 to 18. We have heard this, like this is the main verse about Bhagavata. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. And we covered this earlier. So these are all Bhagavata Vidhis, Prabhu, like really taking shelter of the pure devotee and performing under him. But the Archanam can also be done, Dasyam, everything can be done under Bhagavata Vidhi. Panchratrika Vidhi is required for purification from the Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam are not, but in Panchatrika Vidhi, Shravanam is included with deity worship, as part of the deity worship. And Srila Prabhupada then explains that next week when we go through the SB, that Prahlad Maharaj's verse, we go through all of those. Srila Prabhupada details it out in that purport, one by one. Really details out. Okay. I think it's a lot to take this week. This is so complicated, right?
I think one of the big problems that I've already expressed to you is that we have questions, or sometimes we don't even start with the questions, and we don't come up with any conclusions. So it's just next week, let's read, and we don't come up with any kind of even, let's say, a step of a conclusion, coming to the bigger conclusion or whatever. So it's kind of stays vague every week.
Okay, let's do that here.
If I may interrupt, Prabhuji, please. So I think so. This not getting into conclusion is a thing that we keep on going. So it's good, right? So we keep on reading more and more. So anyway, what we will get in conclusion.
Very good. Okay, I'm going to write. You tell me, Prabhu, what is your understanding? Let's keep discussing this conclusion.
For today's,
Yeah.
and if devotee can, oh sorry, this is open slate. Okay.
You can write it here.
I cannot do it.
You're not able to? Hold on 1 second.
I think better we have a docs, Google Doc. Typing will be easy, right?
Now you try now. Can I see your pen? Yeah. You can create anything and start typing it. Mr. Prabhu, you're not able to, huh? everyone should be able to. Okay. Okay. I think you should be able to now. Are you able to go in and make? No? Arvind? Okay.
It's difficult. I'm using phone, right? So I think
Okay. Let's me. I can
Google
type.
Docs.
I can type it. No problem. Okay. What is the thing?
So for today's,
Yeah.
I can means what I will take back from here that DT worship Panchatric Vidhi is a not just a supportive thing in devotional service, but also enhance our devotional service to such a extent that we can chant nicely. We can have taste for chanting. I can still see the whiteboard. I don't know if you're seeing screen.
You're not able to see the screen?
No.
Whiteboard screen you're not able to see?
Yes. I just zoomed in. Yes.
Okay. 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 What else? Balaram Prabhu?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the conversation at the beginning would be better for me anyway if we start with, okay, I don't know, this is the question, or this is the doubt, or this is what we're trying to clear, or this is where we're trying to come to, and then this part of it, we've established this or not established that. Because even while we were going through this class, my question was, what is the Panchatritika system or process? You know, it's not just the initiation. So I still don't have an answer to that. I mean, we've said, people talked about it, you talked about it, but it's kind of jumping a little bit like here it did. That it sounded like, well, it could be, you know, the same activity could be Pancharatika, could be Bhagavad Vidimag, and you can do all the 9 process under Bhakti Vidhi, under the Bhagavad Vidimag. So then, how do we know what's what?
So it's not I don't think, Prabhu, this is a problem with the format. The question, the topic itself is so broad, so broad. Why I'm telling is that I struggle with this and still struggling, but to even to grasp like the basics of the mechanics of this whole thing took me months, Prabhu, to try to keep researching it. It's like so all over the place, like so many things like are components to make this work. So I did take when you say what is Panchatrika Vidhi, I did take you and showed you all the Prabhupada statements what he has told about Panchatrika Vidhi. But to go more deeper, like the basic, like the on the top level, but to go deeper, we should go through those purports to go, because he is going
Okay,
deep.
let's not go deep straight away. Okay,
Yeah.
just initially for neophytes like me. So how would you describe or find where Prabhupada describes what is the Pancharatrika system? Because fundamentally we started all this topic because we're trying to understand initiation. We're trying to understand Guru, Diksha Guru. So there is initiation going on, and then ISKCON Prabhupada has brought in a Pancharatrika aspect to it, whereas actually it doesn't exist in the Bhagavad Marg. So we're trying to understand that, and then we just go in and get lost. It's become a big maze kind of thing.
Let's just
I
say
mean,
deity worship. That's it. for the time being, archana process.
Mm-hmm.
But it is not just archana process. So how it is not, why it is not, then we have to go deeper, no? Like Srila Prabhupada chanting mantras and with deity worship, that's the, like you can say, a top level, that is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, because, it sounds like, sorry to give this example, if I'm an English teacher, so when we're teaching a topic, we teach the same topics to 6 different levels, the same thing, like
Exactly.
present tense to level 1, present tense to level 2, present tense to level 3. So we can and should maybe, or you can do it like this, Pancharataka system for level 1. What does it mean? And then later on, when we're a little bit more clear on the different aspects, all of it, we're ready for level 2 of Pancharataka system. Kind of build upon what we have. We need, because we know we need time to chew it.
Yeah.
We need time to solidify it, and then we're ready for the next installment. But maybe we're trying to chew level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all in one go, and it's just not going.
Yeah. It will, yeah, definitely. And so that's why I'm hoping that we can do next week. We take up Prahlad Maharaj's verse. Hmm?
Okay, because I mean, we can also say like this in this light that in Srila Prabhupada's time, in this time that we're interested in, 1965 until 1977 when he left, devotees didn't have this rocket science knowledge, So they had whatever they had, they understood it, they moved on it, they progressed, they purified, So what are we kind of are we overdoing it right now? Are we missing some basic stuff? They understood it, or we're trying to understand what they understood at that time, or
Yeah,
what was happening.
that is a very good point that you make. Now, Srila Prabhupada's before his disappearance, see, some places they were getting very mature, very, very, by chanting and hearing and understanding from Srila Prabhupada and Krishna in the heart. But what I find the problem with what between now and then is in terms of, let's say, Srila Prabhupada has set up something that got disturbed. Why it got disturbed itself is the problem of not maturity and understanding the properly the philosophy and the symptoms and so many things. Now that it got disturbed, now to re-establish it, to distinguish between the real and the fake, which I call Maya, not just like there out there, in name more or less, but the real thing, and then to re-establish it in a new time circumstance, but following the same line kind of what Srila Prabhupada set up in 50, 70 years back. Now that Prabhu requires going inside really deeply.
Why should it get disturbed if people, let's say like yourself and many other devotees, they're accepting Srila Prabhupada directly as their spiritual master, just like the devotees in 1965. They're reading the original books. They're trying to serve as best as they can. They know what Prabhupada wants: Harinam, book distribution, translation of books, make devotees, make temples. I don't see what the disturbance can be. If that's your connection with Prabhupada and Prabhupada connection with you, your connection with Krishna and Krishna with you. So what can there be there as a disturbance? I can understand if you're saying you're taking second-hand devotees from ISKCON that have already been, let's say, got some propaganda in their head, and you're taking them and reteaching them. Okay. But there are lots of people, lots of devotees that are just directly from day one connected to Prabhupada and continue with Prabhupada. So, this idea of disturbance, and that's why we have to analyze everything.
Okay, so now somebody else wants to chime in here, please, Prabhu? Anyone?
I think, Prabhuji, by disturbance, you mean the spirit of Srila Prabhupada, right? So the surrender to Srila Prabhupada is lost somewhere.
Why is it lost when you're now dealing with Srila Prabhupada directly? You know he's your guru. He is your guru. You're having a relationship with him. You're
Because
serving him. Where's the
because
disturbance?
I actively, consciously took the decision that no, I'll have to surrender to Srila Prabhupada. Otherwise, I was like, people inspired me to, surrender to a guru, or, uh, he's a pure devotee and this and that. That is fine. They are pure devotee, no issue. But I lost Srila Prabhupada in between. But consciously, I took the decision, no, I have to enforce myself that who is the founder Acharya, who is Srila Prabhupada, and how he is helping me right now, and he'll help me always. I think it is on personal level. I think we are all trying, but institutionalized, I find it still missing.
I mean, really, we have to ask ourselves, in the devotees in 1965 to 1977, what's the big difference between you and them? They read Prabhupada's books, or they came in contact with Swami Prabhupada. They got very enthusiastic. They surrendered to him, to the process. What's the big deal now? It's happening every day to everyone.
Anyone else wants to also chime in?
I mean, I'm just, it feels like for me, it's just we're making it much more complicated than what it is. If those simple devotees, nice devotees, sincere devotees from 65 to 77, whoever joined at that point, just love Prabhupada. Okay, bro, what can I do for you? Okay, you go there, you do this, and boom, And why can't that happen now? Why isn't it happening now? Or why are we thinking or feeling that, we're complicated it, I feel.
Just like I just want to bring one point. In the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, like Krishna explains to Surya, and then the disciplic succession was lost. So now he wants to bring it up to Arjuna. So this can take a good example, like it will be lost, and
No,
even Prabhupada said like,
what is lost?
I mean the purification process, the procedures,
Tell me,
the
okay, Prabhuji, if you don't mind, so just tell me, from 1965 to 77, whatever Prabhupada had and established with the devotees, what is lost with us now, 2025? What's not there now that was there in 65?
you can see the system getting like adulterated. This is what is happening.
But you're
So
talking about system in ISKCON. We're not in ISKCON, right? We have our own. We're reading. Luckily right now in 2025 we've got a whole lot more material than they ever had in 65. So we've got much more association with Prabhupada. We know and we accept Prabhupada as our guru, right? Just like they did then. So what are we missing? The physical association with Prabhupada? Is that it? Is that the problem?
you
No
can't
problem.
say like that, because in those days also not that everyone is getting physical association with Prabhupada, because
Exactly.
Prabhupada was going each and every place, and temple presidents were the one who was acting as a Siksha Guru, and
Yeah.
that was there,
Yeah.
and everything was going in a very pure way, because that Prabhupada was personally present, and it was very beginning.
Yeah.
And this was going on because days were passing by, generations. Prabhupada is not there, and everything got corrupted, adulterated, and all this system is going on like that.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Can I I was actually having the similar discussion with Nimai Prabhu, I think, a few days back. And so actually, one thing I was also contemplating over it, that what was there from 66 to 77 is being missed is that consciousness. And see, previously, when Prabhupada was going here and there, even though physically he was not present, but
through Vani he was being discussed. Any information coming from someone to someone, it was being discussed in the devotee community. They were always discussing about Prabhupada. Oh, that Prabhupada is over there, and what, he had done that, he had done this. So it is like both the person who is speaking and person who is telling, because they are talking about a pure devotee, both are getting purified every day, because they are thinking, oh, Prabhupada is going to Los Angeles, or he's going to Germany, he's going to there, and there he
Yes,
was speaking with such and such gentleman. So these are
yes.
all even though it seems like it is a it, it's a gossip, but actually it is not a gossip, because it is being narrated about a pure devotee. So it is
Yes.
actually purifying each and every one of but now because those activities, we discuss about Krishna, we discuss about philosophy, but actually in our heart we don't really keep Krishna, Prabhupada in our life. We think, oh, Prabhupada was there. No, but actually,
Exactly.
unless and until we have that realization that Prabhupada is there, and he is actually guiding each and every soul, and that kind of discussion starts within the devotee community, that how Prabhupada did that, or how Prabhupada used to do this. All those tiny details, unless we go into, maybe that I don't know whether how much it will help, but it will surely help each and every devotee, and maybe it will
This is
purify each and every one of us.
Shuddha Sattva Prabhu speaking, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, you've absolutely, for me personally, you've nailed it on the head. This is the big difference. And it kind of rests on the fact that we don't have a relationship with Prabhupada where when we do come together, we're talking about Prabhupada the way the devotees talked about in 1965 and 1966. So for me, this is actually why I started this topic, Guru Tattva, was actually to increase and deepen my Prabhupada consciousness to the point where I am thinking about him every day in that way and talking about him in that way. And let's do this for Prabhupada. Prabhupada would be so happy if we did this, like this, like this. But you're also right, and all devotees should consider is that that is the difference in between 65 and 77. Although Prabhupada wasn't physically in New York Temple or in Istanbul, Turkey, any devotee who was here was talking about Prabhupada, like, oh, now he's going there, and maybe hopefully he'll come here. So they were like really, they were living with Prabhupada, even though Prabhupada wasn't physically there. And this is what's missing. I don't know how we can get that mode now, except to really deepen and increase our Prabhupada consciousness. Nimai Prabhu, what do you say about this? Because you're saying you had this exact conversation with Nimai Pandit Prabhu. So now, what was his feedback on this?
I would say Nimai Prabhu, he can
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm asking
throw more
Nimai
light on
Prabhu.
it.
What we were discussing, we need devotees of that consciousness. That's the main thing. That's the only thing actually. With those devotees in consciousness who are keeping Srila Prabhupada in their consciousness. And like I remember when I went to Mother Janva's house in Alachua, the way she was worshipping Srila Prabhupada had a room and he's sitting there, and I was amazed. Like she's serving him as if he's living there from morning Mangalarti. She would go and feed him this, that, take care of his shawl, put him for, before the Mangalarti, put him on transcribing. and like gradually morning walk is there, and like that the whole day goes as if she's living with Srila Prabhupada next to her.
Yeah.
So then I got so much inspiration from that, and then in Long Island Temple, I did that like while we were worshipping the deities. At that time, Srila Prabhupada was doing morning walks, so we would put, like, to get the consciousness more, we would put Srila Prabhupada's walking stick on near him, and put his bead bag on his hand, and play his morning walk conversation while devotees are doing deity worship, and like that few things. But because so many things are going on, and that thing goes away. But if there are devotees who are only doing that, like especially elder devotees or devotees who are, that's what their focus is. They can keep the consciousness of everyone in the temple like that, and and in the community like that, wherever, that's all that's all they are doing. The other devotees can then get that inspiration and that affection, that infection from these devotees. And so what, see, that is where I come into why I think it's so important to create communities with elder devotees and devotees who are, whether elder or junior, doesn't matter. They have this infection of Srila Prabhupada, and they are constantly talking always about thinking of Prabhupada. So automatically everything will come out as if Srila Prabhupada is there and saying and everything. Love of Srila Prabhupada will permeate from their heart, mind, anything, every activity. So that is one very, very important thing, sadhu sangha. I know that's how we get to bhajan kriya, which is to take initiation from the spiritual master and develop love for him. That is the primary thing which is missing. The second thing how one can develop is why we are doing Guru Tattva is to understand Srila Prabhupada's in truth. So while one is doing this glorification, it is not on the sentimental platform. So that we understand, like when we see Srila Prabhupada, we don't see him like some great or wonderful person alone, but we see through the eyes of the scriptures what is he actually. He is, because many times I see, even though devotees are very, like initial devotees, many times they are glorifying him, and like they are in love with him, they're wonderful, like that. But many times the depth of understanding sometimes is missing. So later on it became easy to divert them. They're simple. It is not a disqualification in Krishna's eyes, but the problem is that other people can take advantage and take them away. So even though they were glorifying Srila Prabhupada so deeply and so enjoyably, and they were in ananda and bliss, spiritual bliss, they lost it after a few years. That is the biggest loss of their existence. I mean, like, there is no other loss. Of course they'll get it back again, but why do we want to be in that situation? So that's why I've been focused on trying to really, really have myself, and then share it with everybody, like really understand Srila Prabhupada in truth, tattva. So from every angle we see through Srila Prabhupada eyes of the books which he has written himself for us, so that we don't get diverted. So both are required. What we discussed this point, I think around 6-8 months back, that we can do a separate thing for that, just Srila Prabhupada, like that, without so much philosophy putting inside it. But right now this group, in my opinion, and the book which I was working was focused on this aspect, which is philosophically understanding Srila Prabhupada, so it is permanently set up in one's consciousness.
I think we should do both of them parallel, because
Yeah,
Prabhupada, of course, there's the,
there's no
as you're
question
saying,
how we should do it is the question.
because like for me, as just an example, sorry if I'm gonna rattle some cages, but I just had a devotee come and stay with me. He's an ISKCON devotee, Tara. He used to teach in Gurukul in Mayapur, originally from Palestine, and he stayed with me 5 days. Nothing came out of his mouth that wasn't Prabhupada said, Prabhupada this, Prabhupada. He has his own guru, whatever that is, but not one word about that. Everything was just Prabhupada. I was just so Prabhupada conscious around him. It was so nice association. And this is also the main reason why I love to go, especially to Vrindavan. Like when I pass through Vrindavan, there's so much, let's say, pre 77 disciples. When you sit with them, they don't talk about anything else. Everything's related to Prabhupada. They have so many Prabhupada pastimes, Prabhupada said this, Prabhupada did this like this, and it's all just Prabhupada, Prabhupada. And then when you move away from non-pre 77 disciples, I don't get anywhere near the same amount of Prabhupada consciousness coming through their vibration. You know, I mean, for me, it is what it is. You know, I'm not going to lie about it. This is the fact. So, starting with me, I want to really, really improve my, increase actually my consciousness, so that when I'm talking, everything is an example from Prabhupada's life, blah blah. So, like, I really want to know everything he did. You know, the Lilamrta and pastimes, so that every example I can give from life in preaching or in dealing with people, it's Prabhupada did this like this, Prabhupada said this like this, Prabhupada wrote like this to this lady, so that both for me and for the hearer, they're just absorbed in Prabhupada. Everything is kind of webbed, web linked back to Prabhupada or to Prabhupada. So yeah, if you can, I'm really interested in. Sorry, Prabhupada, go ahead.
All that you say is very good, except the reality is also we should accept that together with it, that so many devotees, they are glorifying Srila Prabhupada, but they are actually like cutting him through with swords. Like Srila Prabhupada gives this example that this rascal, he's glorifying Krishna, but he's actually saying Krishna has no eyes, no ears. What kind of glorification is that?
You may say that's your experience, and that's fine. But I'm telling you, my reality is you talk about reality.
Because you are not living in reality, Prabhu, then.
No. You are not living in reality. You're living in your reality, and I'm living in my reality.
We have gone through this philosophically so many times, so
okay, so keep it that you express your opinion, I express mine. I'm telling you what I'm living for fact, and I would go.
Not mine or somebody else's opinion. You have to go by scriptural eyes, no? So just like the example Lilamrta, which was written by Srila Goswami, he was living with Srila Prabhupada. He used to glorify Srila Prabhupada so purely at that time. But he got corrupted. And then his glorification of Srila Prabhupada, let's even take it, it was done with lot of sincerity. But it is portraying Srila Prabhupada as a material person. So many examples which Yashwanandan Prabhu took and compiled it. Can you please let me finish on this? He compiled it and he called it Lilamrta Review.
You've said this to us all a million times already.
So that is
what you're not hearing is other people's experience, real experience, that when they read Lilamrita, they get much more attached to Prabhupada. If that's the result, that's great. Huh? No, that's your opinion. That's your nonsense, sentimental. It's not sentimental. And
you say that my nonsense, everything, you tell me, if Yashwanandan Prabhu has portrayed, like compared, Srila Prabhupada says something about how a pure devotee sees and or does or feels, and Satswarup Maharaj, he right below that, he is saying the pure devotee was feeling despondent, he was feeling tired, all these things. Then and he is and he keeps comparing. Srila Prabhupada says pure devotee doesn't feel like that, pure devotee feels like that, pure devotee doesn't feel like that. Now, what happens is when a devotee who is listening to Srila Prabhupada and he sees Srila Prabhupada feeling tired, looking like tired, he doesn't get attached to Srila Prabhupada thinking that he is getting tired. He gets attached to Srila Prabhupada thinking that he is such a like transcendental pastime he is doing, that in that pastime he is feeling that emotions. okay, of tiredness.
What are you
Just
talking about?
Srila
What are
Prabhupada,
you what are you talking about, Prabhu?
just like becoming old, just like going, oh, he was at 79 years of age, he went across the ocean. A sentimental devotee will get attached to Srila Prabhupada, thinking, oh, such an old man, 79 years of age, still he came to the West. People will
Nimai Prabhu.
be very, very attached to Srila Prabhupada in
Nimai.
that manner, but it is a sentimental
When,
understanding because it is not
Prabhuji, with
scripture.
all respect to you, and we've talked about this as you say yourself many times, Prabhupada, I can bring you thousands of sentences where Prabhupada himself writes this stuff and says this about himself. So if another devotee, disciple repeats what Prabhupada says, oh, I'm just an old man, or I'm tired, or I'm this, if he writes this, okay, of course, every single devotee will take it personally, will react to it and take it on as they do or whatever. I don't know. But what I'm just saying is, as a result of reading the Lilamrta or associating with this disciple or this disciple within ISKCON, if their attachment and their love for Prabhupada increases, that is a good transcendental result. Now, when you read,
What is that love? That is a
yeah,
sentiment.
this is again, see, this is your nonsense. You're saying,
Let
what
us
is
see
that
what
love?
Srila
That is
Prabhupada says.
sentimental.
So when you keep saying nonsense, nonsense, but you never quote Srila Prabhupada where he's saying like that. So here Srila Prabhupada says,
Prabhuji,
devotee on the topmost platform of devotional service always humbly thinks that he is not rendering any devotional service. He thinks that he is poor in devotional service and that his body is material. So Srila Prabhupada can say things like that, like he goes on. The Supreme Godhead, his incarnation devotees may pose themselves as ordinary men, but they are never to be considered as such.
okay,
Then he says, it is the injunction of the Vedas, spiritual master should not be treated as an ordinary man, even if sometimes the spiritual master behaves like an ordinary man. It
okay,
is the duty of the disciple to accept him as superhuman man. So one cannot become attached to him as if he is an ordinary old man. He has
okay.
to become attached to
Uh, uh,
Prabhupada as
30 years in ISKCON, I've never met anybody who says Prabhupada is an ordinary man. How's that?
old man because he's
Yeah,
so
yeah, no one,
coming
no
to
one.
US.
I've never met anyone in ISKCON in 30 years, never talked to anyone who thinks of Prabhupada as a normal man.
I give up. I give up. You just
Well
directly
done. Good,
contradicting
good. Then
yourself.
give up. Just give up and
You.
accept that
I'm not going to
people,
accept. It's like it's not a question. Accepting is right there in black and white, and
what's
you
right there in black and white?
that Srila Prabhupada is directly saying one should not accept him as a normal person, ordinary man.
And I'm agreeing with you. And I'm saying,
What is your definition
starting,
of ordinary man then?
okay, just wait. So, and I'm starting with myself as example. In everything I read of and associated, I've never ever seen Srila Prabhupada as an ordinary man. I never think of him as an ordinary man. I don't see him or surrender to him as
What
an
is your
ordinary man.
definition of an ordinary man?
Anyway, and I've never met anybody so far, luckily for me, I've never met anybody who says Prabhupada was just a normal man. Never.
Why are they glorifying
Case
Srila?
closed.
When no, it is not case closed.
Uh,
Many people become so much uh, respectful and glorifying Srila Prabhupada because at 79 years of age, when he was so old, like look at us, we are so old. When like 50 years of age, we cannot do this. My God, he's such a, I mean, he at 79 years of age, he came to the US. You know, that is not thinking of him as an ordinary old man who does superhuman activity. No?
so let me ask this. Let's take a couple of steps back. So I think the discussion, it all started where this Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada Lilamrita. As we see as Nimai Prabhu was saying that it is Satswarup Prabhu has um, represented Prabhupada as an or as a common human being, or compared with that. And at certain places, not all the places, but is that my understanding true, Prabhu? Is that the statement is?
It's an overarching feeling you get,
Right.
that you finally need to help Srila Prabhupada because he's a old, like he can't do anything. He needs our help. Or
Mm.
that we need to do it for our purification. He doesn't need any help. I went through this. I read Lilamrita, and for 2-3 years, I was thinking like this, exactly like what what like these contaminations were there in me. And then I read Lilamrita review, and then because Srila Prabhupada is saying differently, so then I had to change my consciousness, purify those material thinking which the Lilamrita had created, and then remove it. So I clearly saw the difference between that and this. And I see most ISKCON devotees carry that, or people who read that, and many older devotees carry that consciousness. They don't
But
have the know actually what does it mean to be as good as God and how to actually see Srila Prabhupada. So when the glorification happens, it is not the right way of glorification. And it has contaminations, like milk touched by a serpent, like that it gets touched, and then one gets the faith comes down, one can't understand then Srila Prabhupada and Krishna consciousness philosophy properly, and then so and so forth, and the plan of Krishna and Srila Prabhupada becomes far away, and then one becomes like a mediocre devotee.
yeah. But Prabhu, at the same time, I would just like to maybe go little more deeper in this. But at the same time, we don't have any other, you know, that much big resource available to understand life of Srila Prabhupada other than Lilamrita. We have few books here and there which talks about few incidences, or um, but not from childhood to his till he departed this material world. To
Nice book called Lilamrta as It Is. Have you read that?
No, I'm not aware of that.
Okay, so this is available in Krishna store.
That's nothing like the Lilamrita, and it's not the Lilamrita actually.
Better not to drink the poison and take little
It's
sweets. It's good than drinking poison. No, I don't know why.
no,
Why
you see it as poison and stop labeling it as poison,
you keep.
please.
Whenever you say something, you have to back it up with Srila Prabhupada statements. Then otherwise, it
No,
becomes.
I'm backing it up with you that you had your experience when you read Lilamrita, you got poisoned, and for 2 years, 3 years, you're like this.
So Prabhu, yeah,
Okay,
I'll take one reference from Srila Prabhupada statement in the Srimad Bhagavatam. In the introduction, uh, Prabhupada do mentions that, or in the Bhagavatam itself, it is mentioned that uh, talks about Krishna or his pure devotee, even though sometimes not 100% uh, factual, but still it is beneficial, right? Something like that is there. I'm not able to bring that. If you know, Prabhu, if you can bring that verse up, or that introduction part.
Tell me again exactly.
I think in the introduction, firstly, Prabhupada mentions that my intention is right, even though there might be some discrepancies. People would ignore it, considering, and I think he quotes also one verse. Let me look it up if
Oh,
I can.
then the one which is talking about the Bhagavatam, even if imperfectly.
even imperfect composed, yes.
Yeah.
I hope that people will accept it in the right way.
Yes. So we don't know Satswarup Maharaj at that time. He maybe his intentions were true, but he's not maybe in.
Why should one write?
No, but again, he's doing his, in a way, duty, or whatever best he could do at that point of time, right? As a service to Prabhu.
Let's talk about that. Same place in Bhagavatam, same place in the Bhagavatam,
Hmm.
same chapter. It is talking about the verses are about who can actually speak Bhagavatam, and talking about how one should be completely pure, completely free of all vices, situated in Brahmanishtam. Srila Prabhupada purports are talking about that, and then he's able to occupy the throne, occupy the seat of speaker of the Bhagavatam. So when Srila Prabhupada speaks, or any of the acharyas, when they write books, they're transcendental books. They're completely free of all material tinges. They are free from vices, free from any of the material thinking, and then they write. Now, in that writing, there could be some word combinations may not be according to the grammar and all these things. That is what Srila Prabhupada is speaking about. Not that there is something mixed, material thing is mixed inside the spiritual. This Srila Prabhupada, see, in Lilamrta review, this is the problem. Intermingling the spiritual with the material causes one to look on transcendence as material and mundane as spiritual. All this is due to a poor knowledge. This is poor fund of knowledge, actually. It is Madhya 1672. And he says this thing, and exactly it is the truth. The Lilamrta mixes quotes by Srila Prabhupada, neophyte disciples, Bloop devotees, Karmis, and Mayavadis. Regarding transcendental literature, his Divine Grace writes, he, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, never claims to have written this transcendental literature by carrying out research work. This is the way of describing transcendental literatures, which are never meant for so-called scholars or research workers. It keeps on going. We should.
Okay, Nema, can I ask you something, please? The Lilamrita, like what I would love and what I wanted and what the Lilamrita is, okay, a little bit imperfect in some places. Okay, we accept that. But what actually this Lilamrita book is, that Sasarup wrote, is a history. It's a history of what Srila Prabhupada did every day. Wake up at this time, did this, and they interviewed lots and lots of disciples of Prabhupada that were with Prabhupada or whoever, wherever at this, and they just tried to gather the whole, let's say, daily history of Prabhupada's activities and put it in there. Okay, of course, sometimes Sasarup went into his poetry, Leela, and wrote like this. But a lot of devotees, including myself, would have loved and wanted when we became devotees. Or I wish I had a book that told me what everything Prabhupada did on a daily basis. Travel from here, ship there, and what exchanges there. Which is what the Lilamrita is. We don't take the Lilamrita as a Chaitanya Charitamrita or Srimad Bhagavatam. It's to actually, as Prabhuji just said, if we had a better Lilamrita written about the historic events of Prabhupada, we'd read that. But that was compiled as a history, as a historical book of Prabhupada by lots of devotees going and interviewing other devotees. And I get what you're saying as far as he's saying Prabhupada is an old man, or Prabhupada was feeling tired, or Prabhupada seemed angry. Stuff like that may portray him as an ordinary man. But I have 2 points I would like to just share with everyone with this, is that Srila Prabhupada used such words himself. So if he uses it for himself, and then his disciples use it to say the same thing about Prabhupada, if you're going to say there's any fault, the fault is with Prabhupada. I don't see it as a fault, but because Prabhupada used it, so his disciples use it. Secondly, is I read that book myself, and I did also, like, I felt some sentences where it said something like meaning Prabhupada was material or something like that. And I just let that fly over my head. It wasn't so much, something of that was there. And I just, let's say, drank the milk without taking the other stuff. And the end result was, at that time for me anyway, it really put me much more in contact and in Prabhupada consciousness, much more than what I had at that time. So it increased my relationship with Prabhupada. And I don't see why Krishna cannot see the sincerity of any disciple wanting to read more and get closer to Prabhupada, taking a book that is imperfectly composed, and then, as he says in Bhagavad Gita, carrying what he lacks. What is that verse? I preserve what you have and carry what you lack. So even with imperfection like that, if the devotee is sincere, why doesn't, I lived that. So Krishna adjust that situation so I don't take that material contamination of Prabhupada. And I've never ever felt Prabhupada is any kind of material man or normal man. Never. So, you know, I'm saying this, I'm only saying this because I had my own experience from reading that. And I respect that you had your experience from reading that. And other people may have different experiences. But definitely, Krishna, the unseen, let's say the unseen factor here, adjusts things in the heart of the consciousness of that disciple.
Maybe, maybe Prabhu, should we read through that verse? It is, I found out it is first
Yes,
chapter.
yes, please.
Maybe we can go through the purport, because sometimes if we go together, it helps.
Shall you tell me which it is?
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 5th, Text 11.
Want to read?
Yeah, I can read. Give me a minute. तत्त्वाग्विसर्गो जनतागविप्लवो यस्मिन् प्रतिश्लोकम् अबद्धवती अपि नामानि अनन्तस्य यशो अंकितानि यत् शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गृह्णन्ति साधवाः. Translation by his. Should I go to translation or synonyms? Want to cover? I'll jump on to translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada. On the other hand, that literature which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, form, pastimes, etc. of the unlimited Supreme Lord is a different creation, full of transcendental words directed towards bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest.
So we're talking about transcendental literature.
Right. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada. It is a qualification of the great thinkers to pick up the best even from the worst. It is said that the intelligent men should pick up nectar from the stalk of poison, should accept gold even from a filthy place, should accept a good and qualified wife even from an obscure family, and should accept a good lesson even from a man or from a teacher who comes from the untouchables. These are some of the ethical instructions for everyone in every place without exception. But a saint is far more, but a saint is far above the level of an ordinary man. He is absorbed in glorifying the Supreme Lord, because by broadcasting the holy name and fame of the Supreme Lord, the polluted atmosphere of the world will change, and as a result of propagating the transcendental literatures like Srimad Bhagavatam, people will become sane in their transactions. While preparing this commentation on this particular stanza of Srimad Bhagavatam, we have a crisis before us. Our neighboring friend China has attacked the border of India with materialistic spirit. We have practically no business in the political field, yet we see that previously.
Nimai Prabhu, you're going up a little bit too far that we can't read actually what he's reading. I don't know how he's seen it, but he's seen
No,
it.
I'm reading through my laptop, but I have joined.
Okay.
Our neighboring friend China has attacked the border of India with materialistic spirit. We have practically no business in the political field, yet we see that previously there were both China and India, and they both lived peacefully for centuries without ill feeling. The reason is that they lived those days in the atmosphere of God consciousness, and every country over the surface of the world was God fearing, pure hearted, and simple, and there was no question of political diplomacy. There is no cause of quarrel between the two countries, China and India, over land which is not very suitable for habitation. And certainly there is no cause for fighting on this issue. But due to the age of quarrel, Kali, which we have discussed, there is always a chance of quarrel on slight provocation. This is due this is due not to the issue in question, but due to polluted atmosphere of this age. Systematically, there is a propaganda by section of people to stop glorification of the name, fame of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, there is a great need for disseminating the message of Srimad Bhagavatam all over the world. It is the duty of every responsible Indian to broadcast the transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam throughout the world, to do all the supermost good as well as to bring about the desired peace in the world. Because India has failed in her duty by neglecting this responsible work, there is so much quarrel and trouble all over the world. We are confident if the transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam is received only by the leading men of the world, certainly there will be change of heart and naturally the people in general will follow them. The mass of people in general are tools in the hands of modern politicians and leaders of the people. If there is a change in the heart of the leaders only, certainly there will be a radical change in the atmosphere of the world. We know that our honest attempt to present this literature conveying transcendental messages for reviving the God consciousness of the people in general and re spiritualizing that word atmosphere is fraught with many difficulties. Our presenting this matter is in sorry I our presenting this matter in adequate language, especially a foreign language, will certainly fail, and there will be so many literary discrepancies despite our honest attempt to present in a proper way. But we are sure that our faults in this connection, the seriousness of the subject matter will be taken into consideration, and the leaders of the society will still accept this due to being an honest attempt to glorify the Almighty Lord. When there is a fire in the house, the inmates of the house go out to get help from the neighbors who may be foreigners, and yet without knowing the language of the victims of the fire express themselves, and the neighbors understand the need even though not expressed in the same language. The same spirit of cooperation is needed to broadcast this transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam throughout the polluted atmosphere of the world. After all, it is a technical science of spiritual values, and thus we are concerned with the techniques and not with the language. If the techniques of this great literature are understood by the people of the world, there will be success. When there are too many materialistic activities by the people in general all over the world, there is no wonder that a people or a nation attack another person or a nation on a slight provocation. That is the rule of this age of Kali or quarrel. The atmosphere is already polluted with corruption of all descriptions, and everyone knows it well. There are so many unwanted literatures full of materialistic ideas of sense gratification. In many countries, there are bodies appointed by the state to detect and censor obscene literature. This means that neither the government nor the responsible leader of the public wants such literature. Yet, it is in the marketplace because the people want it for sense gratification. The people in general want to read, that is natural instinct, but because their minds are polluted, they want such literature. Under the circumstances, transcendental literature like Srimad Bhagavatam will not only diminish the activities of the corrupt mind of the people in general, but also it will supply food for their hankering after reading some interesting literatures. In the beginning, they may not like it because one suffering from jaundice is reluctant to take sugar candy, but he should know that sugar candy is the only remedy for jaundice. Similarly, let there be systematic propaganda for popularizing reading of the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, which will act like a sugar candy for the jaundice-like condition of sense gratification. When men have a taste for this literature, other literature which are catering poison to the society will then automatically cease. We are sure, therefore, that in the human society will that in human society will welcome Srimad Bhagavatam, even though it is now presented with so many faults, for it is recommended by Sri Narada, who has very kindly appeared in this chapter.
So this is a transcendental literature, and transcendental literature is explained a little bit earlier here. This
Can we just hear what Shuddha Sattva Prabhu would like to say
Yeah.
after reading all that? Please, if you don't mind, Prabhu.
Yes.
So there are two things I'm taking away from understanding this. Here, Prabhupada is mostly in the translation. He's mentioning about uh, Srimad Bhagavatam, and it's a transcendental literature, and so he's actually this verse is very much related to the discrepancies in this transcendental literature, even though imperfectly composed or heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. So that is one part. And second part, in the purport, if we go, then Prabhupada is actually interestingly pointing out that in the second sentence, he's saying, I'll just repeat again, it is said that the intelligent man should pick up nectar from from a stalk of
Nimai Prabhu, can you scroll to where he's reading?
second sentence in the purport, Prabhu. Yeah, it is said that the intelligent man should pick up nectar from the stalk of poison, should accept gold from the filthy place, should accept and should accept a good and qualified wife even from an obscure family, and should accept a good lesson even though from a man or from a teacher who comes from the untouchables. So means so with this sentence, I am in a thought process that it is not, totally bad to understand the life of Srila Prabhupada from Lilamrita, because if we put this logic, then it is acceptable, right, Prabhu? Because we are trying to, but again, a person has to be intelligent, what to pick and what not to pick, because if some of the if after reading Lilamrita, if he goes into a thought process that Guru can be this or he can be act, he can be more into human way, so then it's a poison, and then he's not an intelligent person to understand that how a guru should be, or how proper dealings were actually. But yeah, the person who is reading through should be an little expert in understanding and have at least the basis where he can distinguish what is where 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 are there some discrepancies, and leave that and take the rest part to understand the
How does one become expert then?
Well, can I just add something to what Prabhuji just finished? Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for that. But we also shouldn't at all neglect this aspect. We're not dependent upon our intellectual capacity or academic capacity. It's a heart matter, right? So what does it say here? Thoroughly honest. So person who's going to read Lilamrta, I've never seen anyone jump and straight say, first book, okay, give me Lilamrta. Is they've read the Bhagavad Gita, surely they've read the Science of Self-Realization, maybe started on Bhagavatam, and they've come to the point where they're so impressed by the author that then awakens a desire, okay, I really want to read this person's life. I want to know who he is and what he is. Then they come into the Prabhupada Lilamrita. So in that heart, in that mood, when there are imperfect sentences, right, it's not just what's been said just now about being intelligent enough to distinguish. That will be there or may not be there. But the other bigger factor is Krishna himself, and Prabhupada himself will act from within the heart with that sincere disciple or devotee or friend of Krishna, whatever he is, to override those sentences and help him not see Prabhupada in that way. And that's so easy for Krishna, so easy for Prabhupada to do. So that aspect should be understood also, the aspect of Prabhupada and Krishna interacting with the reader to make sure they don't, take on these materialistic concepts of Srila Prabhupada.
So my question in this regard is, how do we, why is a Lilamrta or is a Lilamrta a transcendental book, a transcendental literature? So why is that, is that true?
Very good question, actually. Yes, it is. Because why? It's about Prabhupada.
But who wrote it?
It doesn't matter.
Is a writer not also, necessary? Because here it said a saint is, above everything else, right? The saint in the Srimad Bhagavatam verse that we read, right? Where is that?
Nimai Prabhu, can you find him? Can you help him with that, where we were?
This is the previous verse.
Yeah, no, but the verse and
No,
the
no.
purpose that the purpose
The same
that we
one.
read.
He wants to
If I can just say the context. This
But
context is about how the saints are qualified to speak
exactly.
spotless and sublime glories of the Lord. And then it comes to the literatures which they are writing. It is not in isolation.
All right. So a saint can write transcendental literature, right? So transcendental literature is not just because the subject might be a transcendental subject, because then every version of Bhagavad Gita written by some whoever, some learned person from the West would be considered transcendental, whereas the people obviously would not be transcendental at all. I think everyone would agree. So then how is Lilamrta a transcendental book just because it's about Prabhupada's life?
That's
sorry
it.
to
Because it's about
interrupt.
Prabhupada.
Prabhu, sorry to interrupt. I just want to share one point. So, Lilamrta, written by Satsuru Maharaj, is a biography. Is that fine, Prabhu? You agree, right?
It's a biography, right? So
Biography. It's a biography. Okay. Now I just want to bring one quote, which was, where Prabhupada mentions in one of the room conversation with reporter, June 4th, 1976, Los Angeles. He says that if you want to know me, then you must know about me from me. You cannot speculate about me. So, is it not, or does it not make sense?
Exactly. This is why Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, as it is, Mukunda Prabhu, he spent so much time going through Srila Prabhupada's statements, talking about himself. All these things, what he did, what he not did. And then when following this instruction of Srila Prabhupada, that he says the Supreme Godhead, his incarnations or his devotees may pose themselves as ordinary men, but they are never to be considered as such. He thinks that he is poor in devotion service and that his body is material. So Srila Prabhupada would say as if he is a material person, tired, he was old, or I have become this thing, or I forgot. But even though he's saying so, We cannot think that he was, we have to think from the eyes of the scripture all the time. Otherwise, we do this cardinal sin of actually taking him as his face value and forget this part, you know. So that is why in Lilamrita as it is, Mukunda Prabhu, then he quotes corresponding statement from the scripture so that we can keep seeing, we are not bewildered by Srila Prabhupada himself talking about himself. Just like in Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada does exactly the same thing. Krishna, it is a 10th canto, and many places Krishna is acting like an ordinary man, just like Srila Prabhupada writes here, that the Supreme Godhead also does the same thing. He also sometimes acts like an ordinary man, but he also cannot be thought. So in Krishna book, he showed how he, then he writes Krishna, even though he was Supreme Person of Godhead, he was acting like that. He was running in fear of Mother Yashoda. So he keeps qualifying it. So Mukunda Prabhu, in this Lilamrita as it is, he did that. It's so good to read like that.
I can share the preview of the book so that you can clearly understand the difference between Lilamrita as it is and the Lilamrita biography.
Yeah.
Yeah, people, devotees should understand this book by Mukunda Prabhu. It
I
is
can
not
show you
actually.
the preview if you want, so you'll understand how Mukunda Maharaj has, I don't know, Mukunda Das has written this book.
It is very good.
Yeah.
Basically,
I can tell you, Mukunda Prabhu has just compiled quotes about Prabhupada speaking about himself, talking about himself. It's not a historical from 1965 to 1977 what Srila Prabhupada did every day. It's a completely different book in that sense, right? So Sasarup Maharaj, or Sasarup Prabhu, what he's called now, is actually compiled history and then knitted it together so it kind of runs smoothly. And I've met many devotees who were part of the team that went and interviewed many people around the world to collect information. So it's not only a biography just written by Sasarup Prabhu, it's a historical fact collection that about 45 devotees are part of this team that collected information, everyone put it together. So, Nimai Prabhu, I would like to ask you this. You are a devotee already, and you are singing every day to Prabhupada, "You are my spiritual master, birth after birth," every morning. So then when you read Lilamrita and you come across with or when you come across a statement,
I won't even touch it if somebody gives me $5 million. I will not.
Okay, we know that. We know you prefer to die than go back to Godhead and come again. That's okay. But when you read Lilamrita and you came across a sentence that said Prabhupada was an old man, or Prabhupada was tired, or Prabhupada made a mistake, and you're reading at the same time, "He's my spiritual master, birth after birth," how come you didn't, let's say, transcend that sentence?
You can't, because so many times you keep reading from great devotees like Satsuru.
But every day you're also singing, "You are my Lord and Master, birth after birth." You're singing the same song every day.
No, not Srila Prabhupada. That is just by rote
And
ritual.
one more question just to add to this. When you read Prabhupada himself saying, "I am tired, I'm an old man," what do you do then in your consciousness? What do you do with that sentence? So why didn't you do the same when you read Lilamrita?
Let me get to this statement. Whenever Srila Prabhupada says, "I'm tired, I'm like this," my mind like goes to this statement. I put that in my statement in my mind immediately to not get bewildered.
Okay, so why don't you do that with the Lilamrita?
Why would I do it from the Lilamrita? Why would I want to go and unearth a poison and say, "Okay, let me find if I can find a nectar in this"? Why should I do that?
No.
I can just keep reading.
That's not what we're talking.
As it is, and be satisfied with
that's not what we're talking about. And please don't take a biased position on this. You know that the Lilamrita we're talking about has, I don't know how many sentences like this. Prabhupada was old, Prabhupada was tired. Sentences that may imply.
Let's say 25% is like that.
Of course not 25%. Not that much. But
have you have you read Lilamrta review?
no.
Why not?
Why should I?
Because it is
No,
about
that is.
I never had a problem. See,
I
that's
would
what
say,
I'm
yeah,
saying to you.
Prabhu,
I'm
we should
saying to
read that also.
So,
Prabhu,
honestly,
can
so
sorry
many
to interrupt.
confusions that you have, no, they are all boiling down to this one issue. And
Sorry?
why do so many devotees think you are a little bit sentimental?
I don't care what they think. I know that my relationship with Prabhupada is getting bigger and getting stronger. And if I read Lilamrita and it had that effect. If
Lilamrita,
I had,
why not
sorry?
Lilamrita as it is? These are all about Srila Prabhupada also, no?
I have that book. It's here on my shelf.
So why not you read that and this too, Lilamrita review too?
Prabhuji, okay, you can say that. But why are you like, I have to read it and then I'm something or this or that? I'm just telling you, you can't understand. I read Lilamrita and the result was a deeper relationship with Prabhupada, more surrender to Prabhupada, more attraction to Prabhupada. That is the result. Therefore, I would recommend everybody to read Lilamrita. Absolutely.
No, that is, Prabhu, can I add on?
There's a
to something?
different.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So even when in the beginning, for before me getting initiated, it was being told that to read Lilamrita full. So, and actually that time when I was reading through, I didn't find any discrepancy or something that sort of. But but when I met with few devotees, especially senior devotees who were I would put it like this: the devotees who were initiated by Prabhupada when he was physically present, those devotees never recommended it to us to read Lilamrita. They were kind of uh, against, because it is not correctly written. So that is because they are able to understand the differences, what actually is and what. But for me, when I read it first time, I was not able to find any issue reading, going through it, and I was actually knowing Srila Prabhupada more and more. So for a beginner, or not a beginner, but at least it had developed certain feeling for Srila Prabhupada more and more, or more respect, and but at the same time, we cannot ignore the devotees who are saying that it is incorrectly written. So we should be able to identify and understand why they are saying so, because it's not that they are saying just because of they want to say. There might be some things which we are not able to understand as of now. So maybe once we read through more, especially what you have said, review, maybe we should go through that review and also Lilamrita as it is. Then we will be able to maybe understand what is why some devotees are not recommending. But we don't know unless until we go through, no? So unless we have a higher taste, till that time we won't be able to understand the lower taste.
What does it mean? Sarpo chishtha payo yatha. Milk is very good, but as soon as it is touched by a serpent, it is no harmful. Now, when one drinks that milk, you think one will not get the nutrition which is in the milk? One will get, no? But simultaneously, one also gets the poison.
Sri Prahlad drank the milk and didn't get the poison.
At Lilamrita, one gets automatically, without knowing, because one is submissively hearing, one gets very good affection for Srila Prabhupada. But it is mixed with poison. So poison also comes in, which is
Okay.
which is this thing.
Nimai Prabhu, let me ask you a question on this point. What is Krishna's role and Prabhupada's role in saving a sincere disciple when they read such a book, when they read such sentences? Though you're saying the milk is there and the poison is there, please share with us, what does Krishna do in that situation?
So my first question to you is, like, when Srila Prabhupada he was commenting, there was a morning walk and conversation twice, I remember, two different people. Srila Prabhupada is being asked this. So this person's philosophy is that you don't need a book because Krishna is your guru or God is your guru, he's a Paramatma or whatever. God will help. You don't need a guru. Srila Prabhupada, then who is this rascal? Why is he talking then? So this is common refrain, and he talks about how because we cannot access Krishna in the art, he comes in front of us in books. That's why he's giving Bhagavad Gita. That's why acharyas are coming, writing so many books. Now they are telling all these things, and one wants to ignore it purposefully, like he's being told.
No, 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 no,
Everybody,
no, no.
everybody telling them like don't do that. Like senior devotees like these, they are not just telling, they're giving exactly quotes by comparison quotes again and again, again and again, that it is going to be poison. This is the reason, that is the reason. And then one still ignores it. Okay. That is the
Prabhuji, please
already thinking like this.
don't make it like that we're ignoring you. No, you have your opinion. You say
No,
that many times.
it is
You
not
or any
all in the picture.
yeah.
Where did I
You
come
or
into the picture?
anybody.
All this was going on even before, much
Jamal,
before I came into the picture.
Jamal, dersteyim, arayayım sonra. On dakika sonra gelim.
So this is this Lilamrta is on the harekrishna.society.org, right?
Yashodanandan Prabhu with other devotees. See, when Lilamrta was being worked at, since that time, devotees started saying this is not the right way to do it.
Oh, okay.
They came out with it. And then they found like hundreds and hundreds, like I counted literally hundreds of sentences which are not according to the transcendental literature. There is this whole thing about one devotee came to, there is Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a whole pastime where one devotee came and started glorifying Jagannath, Sri Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, deity forms, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So everyone clapped. Oh, such a nice poetry. And Satswarup Goswami, Bhakti Swarup Damodar, Bhakti Swarup, he literally chastised him. What is this nonsense? And he told exactly how you are mixing material with the spiritual, and this is bogus thing. And he explained exactly why. No. And then he explains, no one should hear from when you are speaking like this until you become situated under a pure devotee, learn from him, and orient all your thought process and mind around what a pure devotee says. Then you speak. So this is what he lost like Satswarup Maharaj, when he's writing, he lost the consciousness of a pure devotee disciple. That's why he's mixing all these things. And so one is feeling Srila Prabhupada as a great devotee, plus he is also is a material person, not as good as God.
No, sorry. I disagree with that completely. I saw Prabhupada and felt Prabhupada as good as God.
Go by your feelings, Prabhu. That is the
No,
problem.
No, not my feelings. Stop saying that and stop doing that. Look, you have your experience. You have your experience that Krishna carried. Krishna carried. Okay, you look at that sentence, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself says, I carry what you lack and preserve what you have. So do not remove Krishna from this equation. Krishna and Prabhupada, they absolutely do have a factor to play here.
These are not Krishna.
Nimai Pandit Prabhu.
In the literature,
Okay. Something just came to me. I'll share it with you. We just started this whole conversation by admitting and saying, actually, that in 1965 to 77, devotees had the consciousness because Prabhupada was physically living around them and moving. So even though they didn't see Prabhupada, they were talking about him, this, that, and the other, like this, right? And so what was going on? What we're saying, devotees were sitting together, like me and you right now, and discussing, where's Prabhupada and Vrindavan? We're not pure devotees, me and your conditioned souls, and we're talking about the activities of Prabhupada, and we're saying that sustained and increased their Prabhupada love and their Prabhupada consciousness. So please tell us, what is the difference between me and you in 1968 talking, Prabhupada's in London now, he's doing this, or this happened, somebody said this, the servant said this. We're talking, that talk that we're having is exactly what the Lilamrta is now written in book form.
That's not true.
Yeah, conditioned souls talking about Prabhupada, that kept Krishna consciousness. So what's the difference?
No. That time people weren't thinking about he's feeling tired and all these things.
Of course they did. Of course they did. Come on. Prabhuji, conditioned souls talking about Prabhupada all over the world.
Okay, but then how is, again, it come back to it, then how is this a transcendental book? But
because it's about Prabhupada.
Can I have maybe a more practical like I want to give a more practical point. So I think we all agree, right, that the zonal acharya system in general and the whole setup after or in the end of 77, 78 is a betrayal to Srila Prabhupada and the movement. So this is out of question, right? So everyone in this circle here, I think, believes that's true, right? So it's a betrayal. So from a practical point of view, then if this biography was starting to be written, or he get at least, I just have it in my hand, I just open out the book, and according to his own words, Satrupa's own words, he says like, okay, he basically got the order in 1978 to start writing the Lilamrta, from the GBC. And as we all know, of course, he's also one of the zonal, so-called zonal acharyas. So how comes that, or why should the reader, or me, why should I trust, if I convince that, okay, there is a betrayal right from the start, 1978, why should I trust anyone from this group that I think, betrays the movement, betrays Srila Prabhupada? So why should I trust whatever they write, just from a practical point of view? Should I not be suspicious about that? And is it not more like, okay, let's control the narrative, just like really practical, control the narrative of what is the authorized, as he says himself, we should write the authorized. I was ordered to write the authorized biography. So basically everything else is not authorized. So why normally you would do that, right? So just a betrayal happens, then basically you secure the narrative of whatever happens, and basically you also, I never read it, but I don't know if at some point it even comes to the whole story. Okay, now from what's happening now after Srila Prabhupada's departure. So maybe someone who wrote it can tell me if at the end they basically write about the zonal acharya system themselves. This is now how we continue the movement. So that's just my suspicion. That's why it was written in a certain way, just from a practical point of view.
In the end, it is there. The Srila Prabhupada appointed.
You see,
rules, all these things. Second,
you see,
biggest thing what it does, it brings Srila Prabhupada down to a normal person guru, so that they acting ordinarily and having all these issues also seem like can be gurus.
So that's, it's just a general thing, for about propaganda. If you control the narrative, you control basically every aspect, and you control also the mentality. And I mean, Balam probably said that you never met anyone considering Srila Prabhupada as an ordinary man. But my question is, why in general I see that the mentality in the movement is like this. Oh, we have to improve here, we have to improve that. Oh, maybe some things that Prabhupada said we cannot say. I'm just saying like feminism in the movement, these things. Why do we have all the questions about book changes? This is all basically, for me, a symptom of a specific mentality. And also, if you just look into the story of the first GBC conspiracy that happened already in the 70s, beginning 70s, where also, we need to help. Prabhupada doesn't know how to manage in the US, so we have to help him. So we have to bring people in to, help managing the movement. And then Prabhupada, of course, stopped that, right? So it already showed the same mentality, and this is a mentality of considering Srila Prabhupada not as a superhuman who basically transcendentally already did everything so that nothing has to be changed. Basically, it's perfect from the start, because it's given from the transcendental platform, and it's not a thought process. So Srila Prabhupada didn't come to any conclusion because of a certain thought process, that okay, you could do it like this, or you could do it like that, that. But it is like a transcendental flow, basically. And so I see the mentality is in the movement, and that's why we have all these problems in all these certain areas, right? So I think it's true. People in general, they of course they don't say it, right? So that no one says like, oh, Srila Prabhupada was an ordinary man, but the symptom is like it's basically unconsciously, you could say, right? So this is just a presumption.
Look what he says. Although Prabhupada's home, not even Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada's home had suddenly become an insane terror. The street at its door was also a hellish, dangerous place. He was shaken. With just this kind of a street thing, he became shaken. Americans so opulent, yet many things were difficult to tolerate. The sirens and bells from fire and engines and police cars seemed like they would crack his heart. Prabhupada moved quickly down the 4 flights of stairs. He had not stopped to gather up any of his belongings or even to decide where he would go or whether he would return. There had been no time to consider anything. He had taken quite a shock. And now he was leaving the arena of David's madness. Just, I want to kick this guy who writes like that. Even I will not be disturbed. What to speak of like 1,005,000.
Also, how would he know, right? So this is clearly, I mean, just one example. How would he know?
What is this guy?
What was he there in the same situation?
Like, and then Srila Prabhupada writes in Lilamrta, yes, I am not happy. Woman, yes, I know. Yes, I shall be happy to return to my Vrindavan, that sacred place. I mean, Srila Prabhupada, wherever he tastes is Vrindavan.
I'm just saying, I don't want. I accept. I mean, definitely, it's a source of information. It's a biography for sure. You can get. I'm also sure you can get valuable insights from it.
Yeah.
Right.
But at
the same time, I also, that's probably why I never started reading it, because
Christopher, do us a favor. Go ahead and read it and give us your opinion after you read
I already saw that maybe it's another thing that we have to go through here in this whole, but probably not. Maybe I read it a bit, with my.
But then the worst thing happened.
Eyes.
The manuscript was stolen. Abhay, look at this word, Abhay, was baffled.
Yeah, I mean,
He is becoming
really
baffled. So much work had been undone. He felt he had worked so many months for nothing. Look at this. This goes on and on and on. It's like that. But it's for the
Prabhuji, like I said, look, you see all these sentences, there. Please just go ahead and correct all that.
Why should I?
We'll print a new book.
Which is full of snakes. That's why Mukunda Prabhu has already done it, no? Such nicely.
He's done something completely different thing. That's not the pastimes of Prabhupada.
What?
Come on. Can I get the access to share my screen, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, please, 1 second.
I got it.
Yeah.
So, Prabhu, I just want to show just preview of that as it is, Lilamrta as it is, because so Lilamrta as it is, here we can see like clearly everything is taken from Prabhupada's own room conversations like this. See, everything is written and then there is a reference where it is taken like this. See, Srila Prabhupada room conversation, Honolulu. Then he was also served with poison. Okay, so where is it? reference. So I mean, the whole book is like this. So I felt like this is like trying to understand Prabhupada from Prabhupada himself.
Yeah. That's it.
So
Yeah.
so reading that book, say here also it is mentioned another quote, say, so that means anyway, if you want to know about me, then you must know from me, that is authentic, that is authentic. And there is another line also here which is not printed here, it is also said, or else you can know me from any of my confidential people, like that it is mentioned. So reading that book, okay, is fine, but if reading this book is also good to read. That's
Very,
what
very
I feel.
good. This is a very nice book.
So everything
So
is from
so
Prabhupada.
many devotees are really nice, very good situated, well situated devotees, and they have written, like Govinda Mataji, she has written, and many other devotees.
But I Prabhuji Nimai, I can
Thanks.
also say the reverse is the true of this book. Mukunda Prabhu, he's quite an interesting character and got lots of stuff behind it, but yet somehow he put together this wonderful book.
It's not a yet, or you have to see here you could apply that principle of intelligent person picking up from the poison, because here he has not even like his words, literally. I was there when he was there, meaning in the same timeline. So he was sending the draft to Kapindra Maharaj, and I was going through it, and there were whole discussion about how many words he's putting of himself. There was a whole like fight about it. Like, why you are putting your word here? You understand? Your sentence, this sentence.
You
This
mean
should
Mukunda Prabhu was putting his word there?
like
Yes?
cover letter, cover thing, and the chapter heading, these kind of things, no? That also there was a fight about.
Yeah.
Understand? It has to be only these are all Srila Prabhupada statements. Like 99% are Srila Prabhupada statements. Whatever else he has written is just like cover, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like headings and all that. So this is not he is written in that sense that
Yeah.
he is corrupted, then we will get corrected. These are he is transparently showing Srila Prabhupada for us.
Yeah.
That is the
Yeah.
mood we should all have, That's how that is why we are there also doing the same thing to get purified. So okay, Prabhu, I think we should end here. We've gone through this, but this is
Absolutely.
the most important thing what has happened in the moment is this nectar of devotion, taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada. These are one of the components by which the shelter of Srila Prabhupada is weakened because of this problem. And one starts thinking of him as partially an ordinary man, partially having problems, and then other people can also, other gurus can also have issues like that.
But just to add another point to this, because I've always been thinking about this, there's a reason, and correct me if I'm wrong, dear devotees, why Krishna arranged that Prabhupada manifested his transcendental personality so late in his age. And one of the reasons, it's not the only one, is to invoke actually from us our material I don't know what to call it, where we see Prabhupada, oh, he's an old man, he came all the way from India, let me help him. That was actually used by Krishna.
Prabhu,
And Mataji's dealt with Prabhupada like that. Oh, let me do this. Let me knit a jumper for you because you're so cold. And Prabhupada accepted it. Prabhupada invoked that, used it, and accepted it.
Prabhu, I have so many things to say on it. I'll go quickly down the list of counteracting
Yeah.
it. One is that where does Krishna say that? This is all speculation.
Where does Krishna say what? Where does Krishna say what?
Or Srila Prabhupada explained Krishna. I mean, someplace we have to see that he is using he left it to the old age time period to do the pastime, so to evoke all these material things. You developed it in your head and you're thinking it is right. It is, where is the base?
It's definitely there.
Oh, where is it? I mean,
How you don't see it, I don't
how
know.
can we interpret his pastime without some basis, no scriptural basis, not just from the heart, no? That's where
Prabhuji,
we go into Sahajiya territory. If we
Prabhuji,
go without the
Prabhuji,
scriptural basis,
what age did Prabhupada come to America?
show me. I don't know anything you want. You show me from the scriptural basis of what you just
Prabhuji, well, then we sit here for 5 hours if I have to find everything and pull it out. You don't know what age
exactly.
Prabhupada went
Otherwise, don't
to
say it.
India?
Otherwise, don't
You
say it.
don't know what age Prabhupada went to America?
No. Age is okay. 69
He
years.
himself said, I'm going at such an
Okay,
old age when other people will be retiring in Vrindavan, but I'm
fine.
going. He
But
said
the
it himself, no?
the interpretation that the reason that Krishna pushed this whole pastime manifestation to from 69 years of age was to invoke material feeling among the people. That
Not only this, this is
basis.
one aspect used. Of
Where
course.
that aspect, where is the basis in the scriptures for it?
What do you mean? Where is the basis for that? Krishna is always using different situations, different circumstances to invoke stuff from his devotees or from a particular
Where is he using
situation.
this material consciousness to get spiritual consciousness?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyasi. Why? So
Sannyas.
that he took sannyasi so that material people can respect him, offer some obeisances, so they would get done some service. Is that an example or not? Yes. There you go.
Yes.
Okay, so there you go.
I mean, how do you connect this to that? What is the basis?
You're asking me. I'm making a statement that Krishna, through Prabhupada's age, manifesting his pastimes, come and preach so late, which is normally too late, right? To invoke one, his whole point was to engage us in devotional service somehow or another. But if he came at a young age, at 23, 25, 26, he would have had a completely different reaction from us in the West. But coming at such an advanced age, it was set up so that he could invoke our sympathy, our respect for him as an elderly person, wise man, so many things like that. So Chaitanya, you asked me, give me an example, where is that? So I'm giving you an example where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself took sannyas, not a transcendental thing, not necessary, but took sannyas to invoke the material position of getting respect from people, service from people, so they would get spiritually benefited.
Taking that example, what should have happened is when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Srila Prabhupada, he instructed Srila Prabhupada at the age of 22 to preach in English language. He should have sannyas in young age, just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so that he can evoke similar sentiments. And if he had come in the West, that Vivekananda came, how much he had impressed people. At least people tell like that. He would have come with his energy, so to say, his beauty, like people like, young, beautiful, attractive people speaking very strongly and very charismatically and doing some like Lord Jesus was 30 to 33 years of age when he preached. It's not an old man to evoke that material consciousness. I mean, you're just pulling some things from just air to
Okay,
show,
Prabhu.
like you may have certain bases, but you're like long way out you're pulling without this kind of big basis, bro. Like Advaita Acharya is an old man. Nobody is thinking he is an old man, so we should pay obeisances and all these things. Actually, it was a whole pastime, pleasure between Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Acharya, where Advaita Acharya was like telling you are an old man and all these things. Like they were playing with each other. That is the kind of pastime because it's a pastime. One of the reasons why Srila Prabhupada, he explains in the purport where Prahlad Maharaj, he's saying to Narsimhadev in the purport where he says, where he says that I have come to this material world to show by example how to become a devotee. Even though I was a pure devotee, he explains that in Srila Prabhupada in the purport, he is explaining how Prahlad Maharaj was a pure devotee, even from birth, but even in this womb. But he how he born in a demon family, how he became a devotee. That is how he showed to the demon class people. That is the only thing I see how what Srila Prabhupada did, because he's saying like that. I don't have any other thing to show. And from that I see, oh, he's showing. That is a big example for me. At 22 years of age, he was given the instruction by Srila Bhaktivinoda Saraswati, you go to the and preach in English language. So at that 44 years later, like 40, how many years, he was working on that mission. Oh my God, 44 years he can, or 45 years he can just wait to fulfill his spiritual master mission. Who am I? I can also get inspiration to keep thinking of how to fulfill the spiritual master instruction at least that many years. But I can't do it because he is Srila Prabhupada. So maybe at least 20 years I can, 30, like that, I keep pushing myself. And other devotees will get a different inspiration like that, how he is becoming a devotee. Of this whole life, how he became a devotee, that's an inspiration, because Srila Prabhupada says that a pure devotee shows an example how to become a devotee. If you are trying to come up with another interpretation, you have to have something like this, Prabhu. This is not so many other things you said, and anyway, let's finish here. There's a lot to unpack. Okay. Thank you very much, all devotees. Next week, we'll take up our Prahlad Maharaj talking about the Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Bandam, Dasyam, Atma Nivedanam verse. And in that purport, Srila Prabhupada explains in great detail about the Pancharatrika system and the Bhagavata Vidhi system. And he goes into great details in each of these aspects and which is which category. And I've been trying to analyze that, and please help me do that further. And we'll do more and more in each thing. Yes, Prabhu? Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu.
Shakal Patarubhyascha Kipasam Jaya Vichapati Tanam.
Kripa Sindhu Patidana Bhavane Vishnu Namo Namo.
Krishna.